Since the 1800s, Kentucky's wide fields and southern charm have been an equestrian hub for horse racing and a spectacle like no other, bringing people in the thousands to Churchill Downs every first Saturday in May. But here a new kind of racing comes to town. Instead of horses, it's horsepower, with several of the best drivers in town jockeying for a chance to make their own run for the Roses tonight. The KBueno Racing Network is happy to welcome you to the Thousand Islands Caret pre-race show as the 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series kicks off and makes its long-awaited return to the Kentucky Speedway. Glad that you're joining us as we bring in this 7th edition of the Season 8 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series, and happy that you're with us once again on the KBueno Racing Network, where alongside Francisco Bacalhau and Keelan Belsha, we'll have Charlie Beyer in pit road as well. I am Kenneth Bueno, and Francisco, what a awaited return. It's been since 2021. Season 2 was the last time we visited this mile and a half in Sparta, Kentucky. It is great to be back, and in a season filled with many different storylines, a great chance to add on to the list with BBR and a lot of other teams fighting for glory here at this track.
Mile-and-a-half racetrack, and we haven't seen Kentucky on the 4-wide schedule in a good bit, but much like Auto Club, it continues to live on in the sim, and we're back better than ever with the newer surface of this racetrack, with the updates to the next-gen car. So much to talk about, so much to see, because there's a lot of unknowns going into this race here tonight.
And Keelan, as we jump into this race, our first proper mile-and-a-half trip all season long. It's been kind of weird to say that. We usually end up on a mile and a half much earlier in the 2025 schedule, but it has been a little while since we've been to this Kentucky Speedway. Been a while since we've been on a proper 1.5 mile track. Last time we were out when it was at Nashville Super Speedway, but this an entirely different sample to what we should have expected to see over the course of the first 6.
Yeah, and Kentucky in its own right, it is a mile and a half. It's very similar length to a bunch of different tracks we go to, but it is so unique. I mean, there is nothing like it on the schedule. Both corners are just so different, and how you approach them is going to be so differently. Again, this is the first time the 4-Wide series has been here in over 1,500 days, so it is going to be a new challenge for a lot of guys in here who were not there in Season 2.
It is going to be a very fun race tonight from Kentucky. We'll give you all the storylines and everything more as we progress forward into tonight's coverage and the Thousand Islands Caret pre-race show. So much to unpack here from Kentucky as we move forward, but we have to unpack the last week. Auto Club Speedway. I wasn't there for the show, but Francisco and Keelan, you both were there for the coverage. We were anticipating this one maybe more than a lot of others, just because this would be the preview to the championship finale we'll have later on this season. Started off with some really good racing, lots of tight battles. Here's Moreno to the inside of Scott Healy for the race lead. Actually, that's Jaden Porter. Really good fight. Lots of these, Francisco, we would see across the field.
Yeah, a lot of racing up and down the running order all night long. We would see a couple of early incidents here, and before you know it, there was some great battle for the top spot between Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Connor Trafari, and Steven Maggio would end up joining into the fight, but it would not take long for trouble to strike as Maggio cleared for the top spot. Just on lap number 20, Kenneth, there was a little bit of contact from Moreno, and as he crosses the crucial wake that we've talked about, you're going to see his car step out, and it takes out the top 3 in this race, with Maggio not being able to continue running. Trafari and Moreno, though, had to repair their race cars to try and salvage whatever they could.
And Keelan, this was obviously a chance for a lot of drivers to put themselves into the 4-wide playoffs, but some of them didn't have increasingly well journeys. That would be said the same for guys like Kyle Benson and maybe guys like Gabriel Dehari, as here was Scott Healy looking for the lead.
Yeah, Scott Healy, he ended up taking a lead about lap 50, just short of halfway in this show. It was a great battle between him and Porter. They raced for several laps on top of each other. Right here was a Lance Hill caution, took out Christopher Bishop and Craig Parks, and there's CJ Munier also got a tap, and that kind of evolved this race into several yellows along the pit window. Here's Moreno, Benson getting together, spinning around. These cautions were right around the pit window, and it opened up the opportunity for Mikey Neal to hit pit road and take the lead. So he's leading as all this sequences out. Scott Healy backs into the wall hard right here, comes back up the racetrack. Tyler Murray would end up being involved in that one as well. And it came down to a late race restart with 2 to go. Mikey Neal, he got a great jump out there, was in position to strike Gabriel Tahari closing into his quarter panel, and they would end up, unfortunately, making contact. It spun the 8 of Mikey Neal around, and it opened up the door for Jonathan Juergensmeyer to get his first career 4-wide victory.
And that was in wild fashion. Juergensmeyer has been close a couple of times here in 2025. That's the closest he was, and had the win right in his lap as soon as he exited 4 and saw the leaders get together. So Juergensmeyer gets the win. It's the 5th straight for KBueno Racing. They have been on a tear, Francisco. They're looking to continue that success here tonight from Kentucky. And really, in that moment from Auto Club Speedway, Juergensmeyer getting the win. What were your large takeaways from the end of that race?
Yeah, it was a very hectic run to the finish line, but Juergensmeyer put himself in a fantastic spot to capitalize on the mistake from the top 2 and was able to hold off Jaden Porter on the run to the start-finish line to capture his first career win in the series, making it back-to-back trips to the 2-mile racetrack in the spring races that we had a first-time winner with Steven Maggio taking the win last season. And 5 in a row for KBueno Racing. They've clearly been the dominant team to start off the schedule, and who's to say that they can't continue this run here with a strong run at Kentucky as it stands right now in the practice timesheets. Ethan Fonseca fastest of them all. So it's just something about these changes to the cars that they just seem to have dialed in the right way, and they're able to go out there, lead laps, and put themselves in position to win.
A lot of them could be in contention for tonight's dub from Kentucky, a brand new racetrack for many, and some a return to a familiar face from the first several seasons of 4-wide action. Broad Auto Club Speedway last week, we had Mikey Neal at the front of the field on a 2-lap-to-go restart, looking for his first career 4-wide W. And while it very much seemed like Mikey Neal was going to grab the win, it all turned away in a really poor way for the 8 machine. And it's not the first time he's been in contention to win in dominant fashion. Kansas, lots of memories brought up from season number 7, as once again, so close to a 4-wide dub. He is fast as a demon deacon right now. The Wake Forest, North Carolina native at only 22 years old is making a name for himself, and this will be the battle for P1 at the entry of turn 1 with 33 laps to go. Peel gets held up and Mikey Neal stamps his Chevrolet back to the front. And there we have it, yellow flag for the 5th time tonight. So does Mikey Neal, and Mikey Neal grabs the race lead off pit road. Unbelievable. Pace car makes its way down to the entry of pit road, and it's Neal in control to the restart zone. Back underway with 3 laps remaining from Kansas.
When Neal goes around,
spins, he slides off turn 4, and it's absolute heartbreak for Mikey Neal.
Very heartbreaking for Mikey Neal. Could be what Mikey Neal does here on our first attempt of overtime. A great restart for him and Juergensmeyer, and even Tahari, as Porter will fall back to 3rd. Juergensmeyer has a great run, but he's going to continue pushing the 8 as we approach turns 1 and 2. Tahari clears for 3rd. There's Juergensmeyer, ready to pounce if anything happens to the top 2. Tahari is starting to creep down low, and he gets into Neal. He'll spin Neal off the corner. Jonathan Juergensmeyer goes by both of them. He'll steal the win from Auto Club. And you have to feel the heartbreak there for the number 8 machine.
Not the memories that a driver would want searching for race victory. Mikey Neal still in pursuit of his first career 4-wide dub. To get more on his thoughts prior to tonight's race from Kentucky, we send it down to Charlie Beyer for just a quick moment. Charlie.
And Mikey Neal, we're trackside. And Mikey, we're 2 weeks removed from last 4-wide TJ Team Series race, but off of the final corner, we all saw it happen. You were staring at the checkered flag, and all of a sudden you were staring at the cars behind him. It's hard to ask what you could have done more in that moment as it was seemingly stripped away from you. But 2 weeks removed from that finish, have you been able to talk to the drivers around you, or what are your biggest takeaways from that moment?
Yeah, that was definitely a really unfortunate situation. At the end of the day, things happen. You can't control them, you can't quite predict them. But at the end of the day, it's just a racing incident, and you got to move on. It's definitely really frustrating, especially after you lead almost 60 laps, especially the last 60 laps of a race, and you're running good, you're running perfect, and you just kind of get swept out like that. I know I was on a little bit older tires, but I felt like I actually drove both corners very well, and I don't really know how much different I could have drove that last corner. I mean, maybe backed it up a tiny bit more, but I think I ran it about as good as I could. And at some point, the car behind always has to take care of the driver in front of them. And unfortunately, just things happen, and it's so frustrating, especially because I really, really want to win here in four wide. This is my second full season. I've poked in for around the last 3 seasons at least, and I was so close. I ran so well, and to get taken out like that was just heartbreaking. But at least at the end of the day, there's still a lot of racing left. It's not like my season came down to that one race. So there's a lot of other races that we can win, and you just got to look forward and forget about that one. But definitely stings, especially because it was 500 feet in front of me, and just got taken out there.
Yeah, and the finishing results certainly not indicative of the race that you ran. And as you said, being able to move on is pretty important. Looking to tonight, 5th on the practice board so far, and you've had a lot of success on a lot of 1.5 mile tracks in the past. So looking to tonight, what are your expectations, and what are you trying to shoot for?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Kentucky tonight. Come here to Jaden's house. This is where I really want to win at, to be honest. I think that would make him pretty mad. But at the end of the day, I love Kentucky. Back in 2017, 2018 at the old Legacy Kentucky, I was beating some pretty big names here. And, this was just one of my favorite tracks for the longest time. And even the new repave, it's going to be really fun, I think. It's going to be a lot of, running the right line and running it consistently, because this car is going to be a little bit tight tonight. And I think you're going to see that. You're going to see a lot of drivers kind of wash up entering turn 3, and that's going to be completely normal. So backing up your corners a little bit more than you think is going to be super important tonight. And, that's where we might see some crashes of drivers trying to dive in and sweeping up into another driver. This track, even though it's like 1.5 miles, and we just carry so much speed through the corners, and so I think it's going to make it a little bit harder to pass. But turn 3 is going to be the passing zone, but it's also going to be the zone where we might see a lot of wrecks tonight, just because it's going to be so tight entering that corner. But for me tonight, keep it consistent. Save my tires, run my line, and I think I have a shot at least getting the top 10, aiming for a top 5 or a win, hopefully. But we'll see. I'm excited for this race tonight.
And the practice board certainly showing a lot of speed. Before we let you go, I took a look at your paint scheme tonight. As a big NHL guy myself, I know you're a big Carolina Hurricanes fan. The season just is now underway, and the Canes are now 5-1, top of the Metropolitan. I'd like to hear your thoughts on how they're doing so far.
Yeah, we're 5-1 without the best defenseman in the NHL, Jacob Slavin. And, he's been injured at the beginning of the year and hasn't really played. We've also lost Pyotr Kochetkov, our backup goalie. And we also lost Shane Gostisbehere, who has been unbelievable. He was breaking records that Wayne Gretzky set in 1988. So watch out for number 4 on the Carolina Hurricanes. But the Canes look pretty solid. Would like to see a little bit more possession by the team, a lot of turnovers, some defensive mistakes overall, but luckily I think our record, it hasn't actually been quite indicative of our play. I think we should have a worse record, but we're coming out with wins, and that's what matters. So go Canes, and we're in the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah, I'm rooting for you guys, and especially in the Eastern. I know, to add a little tension here, I know Kenneth is a big Florida Panthers guy, and the Eastern Championship last year, I was rooting for the Canes. But Mikey, good luck tonight, and we'll be rooting for you up here.
Yeah, I hope you all have fun watching this race tonight.
All right, Charlie, thanks. Maybe some banter me and Mikey can have after the show is over. But Mikey's best career finish in 4-wide history, at least in terms of his career, 2nd place this season at the Brickyard, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, trying to get to that feat, +1 this time around from Sparta. Well, over the course of the last few weeks, we've gotten to know some of the new drivers in 4-wide. We've talked to some of the veterans, developed those relationships. We had a moment to talk with them, ask them some quick rapid-fire questions. This was one of them, maybe one of the more interesting topics that we had to deal to them.
Ooh, that's crazy. Schaefer.
Oh, the most aura. Man, there ain't anybody with any aura in this league. I mean, can I say you, Kenneth? Is that an appropriate answer?
I think the driver probably the biggest follower it'd be one of your guys over there at BBR. I'm not gonna pick a specific name, but whole BBR crew just has a vibe around them, then aura that they got some swagger to them. They try to back it up.
Duncan Fall. Just a guy, just a straight up guy.
I'm gonna go ahead and help my buddy Jade now. I'll probably go with Ethan Fonseca Moreno.
I think Ethan and Jaden both separately, not like the same type, but I think they stand out to me at least.
I mean, it has to be Jaden Porter, right?
Jaden Porter.
Me, I think I have the most aura. I'm never gonna say I don't have the most aura.
We'll leave it to Jaden to say that he has the most aura in this series, but it's kind of like a lot of the other drivers agree, right? A lot of them have said either Ethan or Jaden or the overall guys at KBueno Racing, they have the most aura of the series. Would you agree? I don't know.
I'll stay unbiased. I don't have an aura leader in the garage area. You know what, Kenneth? They all have aura in their own ways. That's how I'll answer that.
All right, Francisco. Does anyone have aura to you? Anyone stand out mostly in this series?
I think everybody with common knowledge would agree that it is you, Kenneth.
Okay, well, Mikey Neal said that, and I really appreciated that, but if we're talking drivers, I mean, I'm not a driver. I mean, you guys have more aura than I do because you guys actually go behind the wheel of the race car. I don't even touch the race car. Well,
I disagree. What do you think, Keelan?
I don't know. He runs laps around me on Monday nights. I don't know. I think he's discrediting himself a little bit.
Well, I don't even run that much on Monday nights regardless, but we'll keep an eye on things and maybe who has the most aura when this race is over, who maybe can capture the checkered flag. Jaden looking for his second victory of the 2025 season, picked one up earlier this year at the Nashville Super Speedway. Well, we're going to dog on Tyler a little bit here because if this were real life, this is how much we would have been traveling over the last few weeks. That's Circuit Gilles Villeneuve over in Canada, Montreal. We had to cross the border, cross the country, and then go over to Fontana, California, Auto Club Speedway, just shy of 3,000 miles. And then we add another 2,000-ish miles to get here, Sparta, Kentucky, at our first proper mile and a half of this series, 4,912 miles. That's how far we would have been driving had we had the virtual haulers out there. So I think it would have been a nightmare for literally everyone, Francisco. But kind of kudos to iRacing in the sense that we don't have to deal with all of the in-between logistical issues. We can just pop into a racetrack, do whatever we want.
Yeah, absolutely. We could just go wherever we want. It's the same deal. We can go to a session at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and if we please, we could hop right off and then go over and do a session at Bathurst, even though those racetracks are probably nearly 10,000 miles apart. That's just the beauty of the sim.
Well, Kentucky Speedway, the newest addition to this Season 8 4-wide racing schedule, and you guys say I don't get behind the wheel that much, but I do sometimes, and I did just a couple of days ago to talk with 4-wide's very own Kyle Benson as he gave me some tips and tricks on how to drive this mile-and-a-half track in Kentucky. Hey everyone, we're in Kentucky, and this is how to drive the track. I'm joined by Kyle Benson, Meridian Motorsports' Zone. He's going to try and teach me how to put some laps together here at this Kentucky Speedway. Now, Kyle, it's been a little while since we've driven this track in 4-wide. I'm pretty sure multiple years, many seasons. So is it going to be wild? How wild will it be for everyone, including yourself, to come back with this car?
Yeah, happy to be here for one. Really happy and blessed to have this opportunity to teach how to drive this racetrack. But yeah, I think this year's definitely going to be different. Definitely going to be crazy. I think the 30 air is going to be huge, especially in 1 and 2 with how banked and how quick it is. 3 and 4 might be a little iffy. You might be able to stretch the lanes out, but I'm not too sure. But I'm excited. I want to get my gear back going around. We've had some pretty bad runs recently, but hopefully, this will be a start of getting everything better and see what happens here. Maybe you can teach me a few things.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't think I'm going to teach you anything. I think it's going to be the other way around, but let's hop in the car. This track has 2 different ends to it. Why is it so different to drive this track, and how different does it feel?
It's definitely different. If you're good in one spot, you can be bad in the other, and you can probably make up for it, but definitely 1 and 2. I like to call that the right front destroyer 9000 because the track is going to be the car is already set up so tight, and it's going to be really hard to be able to follow somebody. I mean, if you get the left front headlight out, you can maybe get a little bit of clean air. I think your entry is going to be huge, and then your exit. If you get a good exit off of here, you probably be set up pretty well for 3. There'll be a lot of guys entering different lanes. Maybe able to get a 3rd lane going. I doubt it, but with just how wide this exit is. But hopefully you get to figure it out here. Just kind of slowly figuring it out.
Are there a lot of things going on in the brain when you kind of have a late race restart? You're kind of on these pace laps. What do you start thinking about before you take that green flag if you're going first in that restart zone?
Right. So let's just say let's just say caution comes out with 10 to go, right? And you're sitting here, you're ready to go. You're getting your stuff warmed up, and you're just thinking like, what do I got to do to win? And just gonna see. So you're gonna come in the restart zone, and you're gonna have guys behind you. You're gonna have 25, 30 other guys ready to go behind you, and you're gonna be like, well, I get to control this. This is when I get to go. So you're sitting here waiting, and now what I like to do, I like to go super early. So like right now, catch guys off guard. Yeah, they just catch guys off guard, right? So it's really just how timing goes, and if you get a good restart like that, you can run your own line.
So let's try one more thing. So slow down here. Let's do like a 2 to go restart. I will be control car, and you'll try to beat me on the racetrack. I'm not that good.
All right.
I promise I probably will give you an easier challenge than many.
I don't know, man. You might put it on me, dude. I don't know.
We've seen Keelan, Charlie, and Francisco run. They're begging me to drive the All-Star race, and I still don't know if I want to do that.
Do it, man, dude. I'll be in the dude. Could you imagine you won the All-Star race and I'm on the call for it, dude? That'd be something.
Try to go. Okay, there we go. And if I win, it's gonna be on technicalities, not because I'm better than Kyle Benson. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. If I lose to a broadcaster, I might just retire. Come on.
I think you might have me. Okay, white flag. White flag.
Give me the inside.
Well, if you make the outside work here, that's gonna be ridiculous.
Oh, it ain't gonna work. Oh, yep. There's a plow. Ah.
See, I messed it up so many times in 3 and 4.
Oh, I got wheel damage.
Oh, no.
It's just
no.
we're both sucking.
No.
We're both sucking.
Oh, no.
Come on.
Flag. Oh no.
I don't know what to call that one. Oh.
I think I did it. I didn't do it.
Yep,
it was ugly, but I think it happened.
That's all that matters.
That was Kyle Benson teaching me some tricks. I beat him on a 2-lap dash. I hold that over everyone's head for the rest of the time. But Kyle, thank you so much for the time, and best of luck in Kentucky. It should be a lot of fun on Wednesday.
Yep, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, I can officially say that I beat Kyle Benson on a 2-lap shootout, but, I mean, kind of Mickey Mouse in that sense. Keelan Belcher, we are here at Kentucky Speedway, a track that was designed and it's helped by Darrell Waltrip, owned by former Turfway Park Casino owner Jerry Carroll. First time we're here in over 4 years and 3 months. What's so special about this mile and a half in Kentucky?
Well, we had to come back for a reason, and that reason is the racing this place can put on and how unique it is to every other mile and a half on a circuit. It drives like no other cookie-cutter mile and a half on this schedule, and you can see in a lap here that just how different it is when you're making laps around this track. You had the pleasure of taking that 117 KBRN car out there, so you kind of know a thing or two about how this is, but these guys are going to have to kind of baby the throttle in 1 and 2. It's super easy to get snappy, and this turn 2 wall, it'll catch up really quick, but you did it right there. 5th gear all the way around, down the back stretch into 3 and 4. Mikey Neal said earlier, this is going to be the passing zone. You get all the way down to the bottom, down to that 4th gear, rip the bottom and push it off the corner, try to stay off that fence right there. Can get a little upset your race car there, but there is 2 totally different corners, and that is what these guys are going to be challenged with tonight.
Learned a lot from Kyle Benson on the shifting aspect and obviously the dirty air, which he said would be such a huge part of this race, especially now that we understand the track conditions. We are under the lights here in Sparta, Kentucky. Track temp just a little cooler than it would have been had we been in the sunshine. So it's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to see when the green flag falls here from Kentucky Speedway. And that'll do it for our Thousand Islands of Corette pre-race show. Thank you so much for joining us on behalf of all of us here at the KBueno Racing Network. And as we come right back, more coverage of the 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series and the long-awaited return to Sparta, Kentucky. Green flag comes up next.
Let's go racing!
Welcome to the Thousand Islands Cruette in Clayton, New York. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in for a tasting and our helpful and knowledgeable staff will help you find the perfect olive oils or vinegars to add that perfect touch to your next meal. We have monthly specials and sales, as well as new pairings and recipes, so there's always something new to try when you visit. The Thousand Islands Cruette on James Street in Clayton. And don't forget, no touchy the tankies.
There's only one fuel that can drive the performance you demand from your car. New 94 Octane, the highest octane on the market, only at Sunoco.
Hey, Francisco, what's up? What's up, Kenneth? How's it going, man? Good, how you been? What you got in the bag, man?
I got a panini, I have a hoagie, I got it all through the Wall Rewards app.
You can order it all through the app?
You can order it all through the app.
I can order it all through the app. The world is my oyster! By placing your order on the Wawa app, you can pick up at any time with ultimate satisfaction. Gotta have a Wawa.
That's my bonus for my quota. Boy, don't nobody know. I just get a check in the jail with the set. All we do is rap. Ain't worried about next one. I'm just making plays, Broadway in the flesh. On us, this right here in the on us.
The next stop on the journey to a championship rests in the middle of the Bluegrass State. We're live from Kentucky Speedway. The KBueno Racing Network welcomes you to the 7th race of the Season 8 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series and the 3rd ever trip to this 1.5-mile track. Glad that you're joining us on the KBueno Racing Network as we make our return to Sparta, Kentucky in this Kentucky Speedway, first time here since June of 2021. Glad that you're with us on for the coverage alongside Francisco Bacallao and Keelan Belsha. I am Kenneth Bueno. We'll have Charlie Byer on pit road for all of the latest storylines across this race. Francisco, it is a long-awaited return, lots of anticipation when this track was revealed on the 4-Wide Racing Season 8 schedule, and in the midst of a crazy campaign that we've seen so far, lots of overtime restarts, lots of crazy racing, and one thing has been true, we have not seen a 1.5 miles until this very moment.
Yeah, we're back here at a traditional 1.5 miles, which we haven't really seen in this schedule yet. We had Nashville, which is about 1.3 miles. It's a concrete racetrack, but we haven't had that traditional racetrack yet until tonight, and it's anything but, like Keelan mentioned earlier. It's just so different than most mile and a halves with this type of shape and this type of figure that we're going to see everybody trying to make passes into turn 3 with how fast 1 and 2 are.
And Keelan, as Kentucky comes into this schedule, could be a big curveball for a lot of drivers. Some of them were around for the first 2 races back in seasons 1 and 2, but a good majority of them, call it maybe 85%, have never seen this track before in 4-wide competition. And as KBueno Racing has taken the last 5 in a row, this could be the chance for somebody other than that team to stop the momentum.
It is a possibility in that respect. BBR has just been so good as of late. We'll see if they're able to keep that dominance going, but it's been such a long time. I don't know if there's even an advantage for those guys who were here, because this track has completely changed. These cars have completely changed. It's a brand new car on this racetrack for the first time, so I don't know if there's much of an advantage of being here in the past. I feel like this is an even playing ground for pretty much everybody that's coming out here tonight.
You know, these were the thoroughbred grounds for a lot of horse racing in Kentucky. The Kentucky Derby over in Churchill Downs, held every single year. NASCAR Cup Series racing didn't start here till about 2011 when they started visiting this mile and a half after Jerry Carroll and the entire crew behind this speedway tried to get NASCAR to come here. IndyCar as well joined forces later on in the 2010s, and we haven't seen this track in action in Cup Series competition since 2020. That crazy finish with Cole Custer 4 wide at this track. That was a really great race, but that was the last ever time that we saw this racing venue used in stock car racing, and now just used for rentals here in 4 wide racing, trying to bring this track back to life. And as we've seen the last several races unfold, Francisco, Auto Club was a huge statement for many, because that was the only preview we'd get to a championship finale that'll be at that very same track later in April of 2026. So how can the drivers use that momentum, or maybe lack of momentum, to spur around a good moment here tonight from Kentucky, try to reel in the rest of the first half in this regular season?
Yeah, it was something we don't normally see in this series, which is the championship race having multiple dates on the schedule. So it was a rare opportunity to kind of see what the car drives like, who are contenders, who's strong, who looks like they had an opportunity to be successful, but also who maybe didn't have that great of a run, and seeing how they can improve when we show up here for the season finale come April. I think it really gave us an opportunity to look into stuff, but there's not much we can also take that into the finale. Kenneth, you think about the race we had, it was an extremely hot race with basically spring temperatures, and in the daylight, that championship race will be more of a sunset night activity towards the most of the second half of that one. So whilst there's things you can learn about the track, there's not a lot that you can actually apply when there's completely different conditions. But I think it gave us a great idea of who to look forward to.
And it gave us a brand new winner, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, getting to 4-wide victory lane for the very first time. It's taken him many tries over the back half of Season 7, the beginning of Season 8, Keelan, to find himself in victory lane. As soon as he did, said he was happy about the moment, although probably not the way you wanted to win a race, given the crash that happened right in front of him at the exit of Turn 4. So Jurgensmeyer, potential chance to go back-to-back and get his first victory at a mile-and-a-half circuit as qualifying continues. Keelan, any final thoughts as we kind of trudge into this green flag race from Kentucky, and a brand new look for, again, a lot of the field tonight?
Yeah, and it certainly is, Kenneth, and this is one that I don't have much experience on either. A lot of leagues choose to skip Kentucky, so it's going to be interesting to see everybody come to this racetrack tonight and see what everybody can do. There's definitely some guys who have run here who are going to have a bit of an edge maybe, and there's some guys who probably haven't raced here since 2021 almost, when we last visited this racetrack. So it's just going to be interesting to see how everybody takes to the racetrack and how it's going to drive for everybody, and maybe how clean or how dirty this race can get. We have seen a lot of cautions in these opening weeks of the 4-wide season, and we're wondering if that trend will continue this evening.
And 2 different winners here at Kentucky Speedway in 4-wide history. Scott Healy is the most recent victor here at this track. Forrest Wynn won the race here back in Season 1. So really the first next-gen race, new territory, although it's a track that some of the drivers in this series have encountered before, although maybe it wouldn't be in 4-wide competition, but for a lot of them, this is their very first rodeo around Sparta, Kentucky's very own mile-and-a-half speedway, owned by Bruin Smith, the folks over at SMI, and all the work that they've done to keep this racetrack pristine. Even through all the years that it hasn't been used quite yet. This track has two different ends to it. It was a thing that Kyle Benson and I talked about over the course of our little tips and tricks video. 17 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2, 14 degrees of banking in 3 and 4. Francisco, Kyle Benson told me that 1 and 2 feel a lot like Texas. Very high speed, very high grip. You go down to the inside of the racetrack. 3 and 4 is where everyone seems to have that big question mark about who can make what lane work and how much cars will we have wide in a certain portion of the racetrack.
Yeah, it definitely is a situation where it does kind of feel like Texas, but kind of flipped around, if you will. You have the really fast 1 and 2 here, like you have the really fast 3 and 4, but then you have the slower, wider 1 and 2 compared to the slower, wider 3 and 4 here. So it's kind of inverted from the Texas Motor Speedway, but very similar characteristics applied to the racetrack. So you kind of have to run it backwards. Normally, drivers will search around in 1 and 2 at Texas to try and find some grip and try to hang on through the high-speed section before making a pass next time around in turn 1 again. This time, I think you have drivers that will search around in 3 and 4, try to run different lanes to get any kind of momentum, hang on through the high-speed 1 and 2 area, and then try to make a pass going into 3.
Well, we'll see how it all unfolds here from Kentucky. Third ever trip here in 4-wide history. Drivers are right behind the iRacing official pace car. Let's take you trackside and see which drivers start where in our third ever trip to this 1.5 miles and our first here in Season 8. We're on the pole. It is the two-time winner this season, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, trying to strike a third one. He's got the pole tonight on a 30.232. He'll have Blaine Snyder in his second ever 4-wide racing start on his outside for row number 1. Back in row number 2 is the rookie standout, Amir Bascom, and his number 27. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, fresh off of the victory from Auto Club just 2 weeks ago. He'll be on the outside in position number 4. Back in P5, row number 3, Scott Healy, who led some laps a couple weeks ago at Las Vegas Auto Club Speedway, and Jaden Porter on the outside in his green number 28 Chevrolet. He'll be in P6. Back in row number 4, 7th and 8th place, a pair of teammates, Alexander Schumacher in 7th and Mikey Neal, so tantalizingly close to the victory at Auto Club, trying for his first 4-wide win. Still, he brings the 8 machine from 8th on the starting grid. Craig Lounslugger rolls off 9th, and the Canadian Curtis Kelly brings in the rest of tonight's top 10.
Lawson Bill just missed out on the top 10, qualifying 11th in the number 12 machine. Brandon Banks, his teammate, will roll off alongside him on the 6th row. Eric Schaefer will be rolling off in the 13th spot, with Juan Escamilla trying to get another solid run in this season from the 14th position. 15th will go to Kip Easley in his number 18, with Daytona winner Michael Walls in the 16th spot. 17th will go to Kyle Benson, looking to try and change the momentum of his season with the 17th place starting spot, and Dusty Applin will be rolling off from the 18th spot, with a pair of Dark Horse Motorsports teammates of Nicholas Bowen and Trevor Haley rounding out the top 20, Keelan.
Back in the 11th row, we have Austin Reedy making another start this season. Daniel Moore in a 77, who showed some speed last week, starting in 22nd. Row number 12 consists of the 46 of Randall Payne and league owner Tyler Murray in the 36. Row number 13 consists of Craig Parks on the 17 and Christopher Bishop, two guys who were involved in the same incident last week, trying to recover this weekend. They start in the 13th row on the field. 14 row, and row 14, it's going to be Timothy Cook in the 19 with Randy Showers in the 22 to his outside. Rounding out the top 30, we have Justin Rott in the 07 and Brandon Gillis in the 9.
Back in 31st is the Clemens, North Carolina native of A.J. Green, last driver to set a time in qualifying. Brian Dixon in the 03 on the outside in 32nd. Michael Newbraw will be 33rd, and Chris Fowler brings in the 34-car field in our first ever trip to Kentucky in this next-gen car. Well, as the field gets underway, and we are just about moments away from the green flag unfurling, Keelan, what are your keys to the race as we take on Kentucky for the first time in Season 8?
The first one, and you kind of learned this week with Kyle Benson in that little segment that you did with him, you got to find your line. There is really one, maybe two lines you can find on this racetrack that are going to be the fastest way around, with how different these corners are. Really only one end of the racetrack being a good passing opportunity. You're going to have to find that line and hang on to it all day long. Aero is going to matter big time. This new next-gen update that has rolled out that's kind of starting to not be new anymore. These guys have started to learn it. We have seen races being decided by aerodynamics and how you put your car in the corner in front of the car in front of you, and what you can do from second to maybe upset that wake. So aero is going to be what matters. The story we've been following all week since Monday, the BBR, they downsized, a couple guys left without a team. There's going to be some new teams, any leftover turmoil. How will those guys race each other tonight, or will there be any problems at all? And could the opportunity be to roll the dice? We saw races like this, like Nashville especially, Jaden Porter, a two-tire call kept him out front to put him in victory lane. So could that be something we see tonight? Will we see anybody gamble? And for more on gambling and on our pit road strategy today, our pit road reporter, Charlie Byer.
I'm not sure if I should endorse gambling, but good evening from the pit lane, guys, and welcome to Kentucky, a track placed at the halfway point between Cincinnati and Louisville at the intersection of the Midwest and the South, guys. Welcome in. 134 laps around this mile-and-a-half racetrack, looking at a very safe minimum of 2 pit stops to get you there. That's based off of around 50 laps on a full tank of gas. But, guys, it's hard to sugarcoat the amount of yellow flags that have been in this season so far per race. So, I will... You can expect a lot of updates from me on the box, and I'll be down on the pit lane giving you all the updates as they unfold, guys. My winners pick tonight, I'll start with a big talking point this week, guys. KBueno Racing, a roster switch-up that a few days ago in an attempt to relieve some of the tension that was seeping in from incidents spanning multiple leagues. However, I don't think they're going to skip a beat tonight, and starting on the pole, guys, give me Ethan Fonseca Moreno. He's going to come out on top after 134 laps, guys. Watch for that number 92 starting first place.
Thanks, Charlie. Not a bad pick. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, 2 wins this season, the most of anyone, trying to continue that streak of KBueno Racing reaching victory lane. They've won the last 5 straight. Since Michael Walls won for Go Incorporated at Daytona, BBR has not been defeated a single time. And that also includes Auto Club, in which all 3 of the top running drivers on that white flag lap were a part of the same team. And Juergensmeyer ended up with the victory. Now they're going to try and reset, get another W this time by. Well, just an update on the penalty reports. Several storylines to give you before we drop the green flag tonight. Kyle Benson, who we talked to on our Kentucky Tips and Tricks video, he's got an end-of-line penalty and a drive-through that he has to serve when the green flag comes out. Kevin D'Elia still has a 1-lap hold, and because he has not made recent starts, he has not been able to serve that penalty, and that will extend past tonight's race. And Gabriel Dahari has accrued so many penalty points over the season, he is now going to be parked for the rest of Season 8. So we will not see the Houston Texan in action anymore until the end of the campaign and when we revive 4 wide for Season number 9. So some storylines there. Lots of drivers that will be missing in tonight's action. Benson on the other end trying to recover after what may be a pretty slow start to this race here from Kentucky. Once again, our 3rd ever trip to this 1.5 miles in Sparta, in a place very well known for horse racing, for Kentucky Fried Chicken, and some Southern charm. But for tonight, it's known for 4 wide racing. And it's Ethan Fonseca Moreno on the front row alongside Blaine Snyder to the green flag in this first race at Kentucky since 2021. And a spinner already. Blaine Snyder goes around. Yellow flag should come out instantaneously. And it does. Quick spill for the rookie of Blaine Snyder. Sideways, barely gets damaged, but we can't even complete lap 1. And Francisco already trouble for the driver who started on the outside of the front row.
And Kenneth, it's a situation like we've seen a couple of times already by Juan Escamilla on a handful of occasions so far this season. It was a case of first gear, spinning the tires, and around the car goes to the outside. Luckily for Sparling, no damage done, but this is not the first time we've seen this kind of trouble this season.
Second look at it as they took the green flag, and yeah, Keelan, it just looked like a simple case of tire spin, just upwards of first gear, high revs, trying to get this car underway. And as they took the green flag in the zone, yeah, car just stepped out. Thankfully, no one else got involved. Snyder was able to escape the outside wall, but again, not a good start if you're a rookie like Snyder in his 2nd career 4-wide effort. Last one was at Auto Club a pair of weeks ago. Now going to have to try and reset from the very back of the field in 33rd.
Yeah, another one of our Florida drivers in the field from St. Augustine. You told the story right as it happened right there, Kenneth. Just gets on the gas just a little too hard, and it's so easy to do here on these cold tires, especially when you're trying to restart the car in first gear, initial start of the race. You're not sure if that's going to be the move. A lot of people use that first start to kind of see what they can get away with, and the best advantage for the second place starting car is going to be on that initial green flag start when everybody's going on the green lights and on the flag man dropping a green flag. So just trying to get that advantage. Unfortunately, overstepped it just a little too much. It's so easy to mash your foot down on that gas too hard, spin those rear tires out, and lose control of the race car. So Snyder going to be relegated to the rear. Tires may be a little flat spotted back there, but just can't take a set right now, I wouldn't think. So everybody's going to get a fresh start at this. We didn't even get up to speed into turn 1 yet before we had a first caution of the day.
And that will already reset the front row. So Amir Bascom, who was rolling in this one from just about 3rd or 4th place on the inside or outside of row number 2, he's going to be now on the outside of the front row, as Moreno will have choice for lane on the first green flag restart of the night. So we have immediate trouble. Charlie mentioned those cautions that have come out over the last few races. We've seen plenty of chaos. A lot of those coming at Auto Club just 2 weeks ago. A lot of big crashes involving the leader in Moreno. Him and Maggio had tangled at the exit of turn 2 in a fight for the lead with Connor Trafari. Moreno trying to regain consciousness in this 4-wide season. Continue to try and be that championship favorite as we continue to move on at the moment. And, you know, talk about those penalties. Obviously, a big shot, Francisco, for Gabriel Dahari, not going to be a part of 4-wide competition anymore. But for Kyle Benson, this is going to be a pretty deep start. He's already at the back of the field, again having to serve that end-of-line penalty and the drive-through when the green flag unfurls. Really didn't have a chance to do that when the caution came out just immediately after the green flag raised from Barney the flagman. But there's Benson trying to recover what has been so far a very tough start to the 2025 season.
It's not been the ideal start for Kyle Benson so far in this young campaign. Has had a couple of good showing, good speed at certain racetracks. The results really have not been as representative of what he's been able to do so far. Kyle Benson, coming off a winless season all the way back in season 7, has not gone to victory lane since the Daytona International way back in season number 6. So it's been a while for the number 38 machine to get a win, and he's looking to try and put that to an end as soon as possible, guarantee himself a spot in the playoffs. This is a driver we normally see in the Championship 5 almost every single time, but last season was not a part of those 5 drivers battling for a chance to win the championship at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Looking to try and change things around season 8 to make sure he's one of those 4 or 5 at Auto Club, Kenneth, but he's going to have to serve that drive-through penalty still, since we never got to even the start-finish line for lap number 1.
Well, he's hoping that this race can turn around very quickly. Finished 10th here last time the season ran back in season number 2. That was a race won by Scott Healy. At the end of that, Austin Reedy finished in 2nd. So a lot of still 4-wide names that we're accustomed to seeing taking over in that race with a chance to win. Ended up finishing where they did. We're ready for the green flag here at lap number 5, our first green flag restart of the night. So Moreno chooses the high lane. Bascom is forced to choose down low with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer right behind. Scott Healy, that silver and black Toyota Camry at the exit of row number 2. They'll reach the Geico restart zone for the 2nd time tonight. And first under full use, another spill by Scott Healy. Wiggles outside. We're still green.
And that looks like it's going to be a trouble spot for the night. Drivers trying to get going as best as they can, but Scott Healy this time is able to keep it under him. He's able to get under the restart well enough to stay just barely inside the top 10. Moreno clears nicely from Amir Bascom, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Jaden Porter. Lawson Fields found his way up into the top 5, and just like that, Kenneth, the top 4 is all KBueno Racing, as Kyle Benson has made his way to the bottom and is entering the pit lane to serve his penalty.
There he goes. He most likely will fall a lap down or more as the field continues to run green. It's Moreno, Bascom, Jurgensmeyer, Porter, and then Lawson Field. The rest of this top 5 as we roll through lap 6. Bit of a slide up the racetrack and a hit to the outside wall for the defending winner. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer hits the wall. He's sideways and a huge hit right in front of him. And Blaine Snyder catches him at the wrong time. A whale of a hit for Jurgensmeyer. Yellow flag out for the 2nd time tonight.
And that's going to be a big break for Kyle Benson, who was serving his penalty. That will count as the attempt to serve his penalty. He shouldn't lose a lap here under this caution flag. So a huge break for the 38, but unfortunately on the other side of it, not a huge break for the driver of the 2 machine, already in trouble. And that just goes to show the ups and downs of racing.
It's a terrible break for Blaine Snyder, who started this race on the outside pole, and that one mistake on the initial start of the race got him tagged along in this. I don't know what happened to Jurg there. There had been some kind of mechanical issue or something go wrong on the setup there, because he just slammed on the brakes right there in the middle of 1 and 2. Being on board will tell us a little bit more here.
hardware issue.
I think that's one of those issues where all your inputs are stuck. So your clutch, your throttle, and your brake just get slammed at the same time. So a hardware issue going to be the end of the defending winner's day. And yeah, Kenneth, like we said, Blaine Snyder, who just ran into him. What a terrible break it was for him, who qualified so well, thought he probably would have speed today. He was up there top of the practice boards, and now his day is going to be done, all because of that one slight mistake on the initial start of this race.
Those pair of cars on pit road. That white and black Red Bull Chevrolet of Blaine Snyder. Again, second four-wide start. Juergensmeyer fresh off of the victory. Lots of those emotions changing hands as Juergensmeyer will try to repair what's left of his Ford Mustang. But given that hardware issue, Francisco, I don't think that will be easy to recover from. Could be a disconnected wheel. Could be something with the computer. There could be a myriad of issues that happens behind the wheel of the race car that we just don't know about until we're told.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk to him soon here when we get the opportunity, just for him to explain what exactly happened and what it was like to go through that situation. But by the look of it, it was a case of hardware issue, and that most likely will end his night. It was a really hard hit to the outside one. I believe we have him now, so we'll get an opportunity to talk to Jonathan Juergensmeyer and get his thoughts on the incident. And Jurg, we saw the incident go on there. The car just kind of went straight. It looked like it was a hardware issue on your part. Is that what it went down?
Yes, my wheel just disconnected. That was very surprising, and yeah, it kind of sucks, but I mean, what can you do about that? You can't really do anything.
Is the damage too severe on the race car? Is it something you could repair and at least get back out and make laps around?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I kind of got destroyed at the end of that, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably it for me.
It's unfortunate, Jonathan, that this is the way the night ends after coming off the win. But anything you want to say to the viewers while you have the opportunity here?
It was a fun 5 laps. So that's about it.
Appreciate it, Jonathan. Unfortunate end to your early race.
Yep.
Juergensmeyer in trouble there after the first several laps of this race. Keelan, we haven't really run a full green flag lap at this moment, but really tough there for the 2 machine and the 7. Just a pair of drivers trying to recover on their nights, and it really just went sour for both of them at the same time.
Yeah, really rough for Jurg, but the good news is he got that win in the bank last week, but he was very consistent. I mean, just was rattling off top 5 after top 5, so that is going to be his first DNF of the season. So really tough for Jurg, but he's got that win in the bank, Kenneth, so that's the good thing. He's in the playoffs. It's a lot more stressful when you have those incidents and you're still not locked into the playoffs, so getting that win is going to be a little bit more relieving, but still not the way he wanted tonight to go.
Only going to be his second finish outside of the top 10 in Season 8 of 4-wide competition. His only other finish outside the top 10 is 11th place at Daytona when we started the season, with a chance to win as well in those final few laps alongside Bacalhau, Justin Rott, and then Michael Walls, the eventual winner from 9th at the exit of Turn 4. Again, winner last race out at Auto Club Speedway. After starting in 16th, going to be out of this race early on from Kentucky. Pair of green cars on the first 2 rows of the inside lane. Moreno and Jaden Porter will try to help each other out to clear themselves into Turn 1 for the green flag restart. Solid jump for Moreno. Porter looks to the inside of Bascom, and that rainbow-colored number 12 is back in action. Lawson Peel looking for 3rd place.
You see Bascom around the top right there, going to get clear for that second position as Porter now trying to slide up in front of Peel, and he will. So that will single file out the first top 8 or 9 or so. First battle looks like just towards the tail end of the top 10. We'll see if Jaden Porter can challenge back under Bascom, as BBR is going to settle in 1, 2, 3 right now. They've been dominant this season, Kenneth, as they look for their 6th win in the first 7 races.
And some data collecting right behind that 28 machine of Jaden Porter. Lawson Peel trying to experiment with those higher lanes in turns 1 and 2. Can't quite make that happen and can't convert to make a pass. He'll stay in 4th as this top 5 runs single file. First battle inside the top group, maybe further back around. Kip easily top 12 as they run 3 wide. And Nicholas Baumann down the inside.
And you see almost contact there as the 18 of Kip Beasley is just in the middle, trying to hang on for dear life. Juan Escamilla now creeps to the inside with Randall Payne up top. They've been 3 wide for about 2 or 3 laps now. Those 3 cars, you see the 46 really send it up there, and he's using that 3rd lane to his advantage. He'll stay there. They're making contact. There's Payne up the racetrack, and Escamilla is able to take the spot away. That's going to be a trouble corner. You see the 16 just behind of Dusty Applin, who's got some big front end damage on his car. Not really sure where he accrued that from this early in the going, but Dusty Applin inside the top 15 with Brandon Banks going the wrong direction early.
Trying to nurse this race car all the way through. That Can-Am Chevrolet of Dusty Applin runs in 15th right now. Randall Payne, Kip Easley, Juan Escamilla, the rest of the running top 12 as Easley tries to peek down the inside. The second-year driver in his sophomore campaign of his 4-wide career came over from the Sunoco Cup Series. The Nixa, Missouri native is doing good for himself right now in this top 15 group as he challenges on Juan Escamilla. For more storylines, we head down to pit road and to Charlie Byer.
Yeah, it's no surprise that Blaine Snyder and Jonathan Juergensmeyer are done for the day. 2 big impacts for those 2 drivers. They're 6 laps down as it stands right now. Still looking for an on-track issue that may have caused Brandon Gillis to go a lap down as well, but he is the 3rd car to go at least 1 lap down, and he's currently in the 32nd position trying to make some spots up, but he is in the lucky dog position.
Thank you, Charlie. Lots of those storylines coming from the big crash that happened on our most recent restart, and both cautions have involved the drivers that are basically taken out of this race. Jonathan Juergensmeyer involved in that 2nd incident. Blaine Snyder, multiple laps down, 33rd, trying to recover what's left of his Red Bull Chevrolet. There's Moreno out in front, half a second to Amir Bascombe. And for Moreno, of course, trying to build on this campaign and that storyline that we've talked about so much throughout the end of Season 7, where all that aggression came out. Moreno was a man hungry for race victories, and race victories he got a couple of times, Charlotte being one of them, Talladega another piece of the pie. And in this full-time effort for Season 8, back in the next-gen car, looking to really pick up on his championship season from Season 6, and has really done well for himself to start off right now. This Quaker State car fitting for a track as green as Kentucky, and still running ahead of Bascombe to the tune of 6/10. Bascombe trying to hold off Jaden Porter.
And let me tell you this, Kenneth, I've ridden against Ethan for almost 10 years now between the Sim and NASCAR 15, and if there was any driver I ever feared most when racing against, it's Ethan when he is 100% locked in. When he has the goal and he wants to go out there and get it, there's very little you can do to stop it, and that's the kind of revenge tour he feels like he is on after not having the success he wanted to all of Season 7 with the unfortunate set of circumstances that cost him to miss races. He was able to get a couple wins at the end of the season. He already has 2 so far this time around. He is really trying to leave his imprint, and it's that kind of energy. You just get that kind of feel out of Ethan.
Here's the battle for 9th place. Michael Walls, Eric Schaefer, that Castrol Ford Mustang of Walls, that outside Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet of Schaefer. Those 2 drivers trying to pick up on some solid seasons-ish for the 3-car of Schaefer. Some good moments turned sour. Michael Walls trying to get another victory after stealing the crown at the World Center of Racing to kick off 2025 in Season 8. He's got Nicholas Baumann right on his tail. Pennsylvania native surges to the outside, making a move here in Turn 1 and Keelan. Already some interesting ways the drivers are kind of taking on this Kentucky Speedway. Good look on board with Curtis Kelly. Shows you which type of lane drivers are seemingly preferring, and I'd imagine we'd see more drivers up high in 3 and 4. Curtis Kelly kind of proving that you can make the middle work in 1 and 2 as fast as that corner is.
And it is a really fast corner, so it lends itself to being a little bit better the shorter way around. But Curtis Kelly, he just showed why he's making it work. You just are able to pinch that guy down a little bit more, and there is really no room to exit because of how close that wall comes off of turn 2. You're kind of naturally pinching him regardless of whether you want to or not, and that allows you to carry just a bit more momentum on the outside. But that is also something you have to be really careful with how these cars respond to the aero packing and how much that wall sneaks up on you. When you're going around the outside like that, you have to commit and make sure you can carry that momentum off the corner. You're lending yourself to trouble with that car below you, as we see the 71 of Kelly make up a position there. He's trying to notch a good finish on his season so far, on one that has started off not as consistent as last season's, where he had a top 3 points run for a majority of the season, made the championship 5. He has yet to find that success, and another guy who has yet to find that success are most recent intermediate winner from Atlanta last year. It's Lawson Peel, a guy who has been very good at these mile-and-a-half racetracks, but has not had any success whatsoever this season. Seems like every race something goes wrong.
And only one top 10 for both of those drivers. Well, you look at the combined total, it's 2 top 10s. A 6th place finish at Auto Club Speedway was the best for Kelly in season 8. For Lawson Peel, his best finish was 7th in mid-September at the virtual Nashville Super Speedway, trying to recover on a type of disciplined track in which he is very accustomed to and still sort of getting used to this brand new next-gen update, as a lot of the drivers here in 4 Wide are trying to do so as well. And that was a great point you made up there, Keelan. The 1.5 mile tracks have certainly served Lawson Peel well. He won Las Vegas last season early in the campaign, then won that Atlanta Motor Speedway race on the old 2008 surface. That is the last time we had a winner at a 1.5 mile venue, at least last season. That was not Homestead of Miami Speedway and Charlotte that we saw in those last few races of the playoffs. Here comes Peel to the inside, looking for third on Bascombe at the exit of turn 4. And contact! And Bascombe will get sent spinning to the outside wall off of turn 4. And just as the battle was heating up, contact between the two sends Bascombe right into the catch fence, and the caution flag waves.
Oh, and that car looks destroyed. It might be a similar situation where he's going to try to bring it around, but unfortunately for him, it's going to be a long night trying to recover from that hit.
Here's another look at it. Just plain simple contact, Keelan, at the exit of turn 4. I don't think there was any intent on either end. Peel was just trying to hang on to the quarter panel. Maybe just thought that Bascombe would not cut down on the tri-oval. But on the front straightaway, that is more than enough to send this 27 car spinning into the wall. And the second straight caution in which somebody from the top 3 spills out of line and most likely will get taken out of this race.
Yeah, Bascombe was trying to defend the position. Peel was a little bit faster, so he tried reeling him in. You saw him down there on the bottom. Bascombe trying to pinch him down, try to get that run off. They just slightly make contact right there. May have been a little iRacing assisted contact there, but it's going to put a lot of damage on that front nose clip of Bascombe regardless. On that 27 car, he'll have a long day ahead of him.
It's going to keep him in this race, so at least not enough damage to take him out fully, but he's going to be probably a lap down or more as he takes his Toyota Camry down to pit road for the first time tonight. Could be a big topic of conversation if we see drivers hit pit road. We've gone 25 laps, probably a long enough run on these Goodyear Eagles, and here they come. Wholesale service potentially this time by as a couple of drivers peak, some staying out, but Moreno will try and stay in. Mikey Neal will look to be that man with the call alongside Micah Walls. They will take their trips outside. They will stay off of pit road. Charlie Beyer, big time moves for them while the rest of the field comes in.
Yeah, we'll see how many tires are taken in this scenario here. We're only about halfway through our fuel run, but Ethan Fonseca will lead the field down. That's Jaden Porter. Big win picked up recently in the last few races for him as well. So all the drivers in, but for Amir Bascombe, no doubt that his race is all but done here with a lot of head damage. And we'll see how the jacks drop and see how these cars bustle out of here.
Looks like 4 tires on a bulk of those cars. One driver looking to be out first. That's Justin Rod escaping, but it's Moreno out in front, clear by a marker of at least 3 to 4 car lengths. And Jaden Porter will sit right behind. Top 3 will stay out on the racetrack. It's Mikey Neal, Micah Walls, and Randy Showers. 2 Fords, 1 Chevrolet, Francisco, that make this call to not take Goodyear Eagles. Do you agree with this call?
I mean, we've clearly seen that the next-gen car loves clean air, so I don't think it's that bad of a call. I think the lap times had fallen off over a second by the time the yellow flag had come out compared to their fastest laps of the race, so there's some tire fall off there. Interesting to see how this plays out. I think we've been to a lot of tracks where tire wear maybe isn't the biggest concern compared to some other racetracks per iRacing, since iRacing tire wear is different than real-life tire wear, but I still think it's a possibility that certainly for Mikey Neal it can work out being the leader. I'm not sure how Micah Walls and Randy Showers, how this will work out for them and their sakes, but I think Randy has been down the pit lane already this race. Actually, no, he hasn't. So everybody's still on those initial start of the race tires for the top 3. And another facet that we could talk about here, Kenneth, over the closing set of laps of this race is that there's the real rule change that Tyler Murray made, or at least the implementation of something new starting this week, which is the claim system. And to kind of briefly explain it, you can claim a caution as your fault whilst the caution period is going on and go to the rear of the field to avoid being handed some kind of penalty post race. If you do that, I believe that you're all good. If nobody claims a caution, then you are subject to any kind of admin penalties like we've seen over the last couple of weeks where they give the probations, maybe a drive-through or something of the sorts like that. So I think that's in an effort to try and clean things up, because we've had, like Charlie has said, a lot of cautions through the early part in this race, and we've already seen a couple of instances of drivers claiming some of these incidents. So it's very important to see if some kind of incident happens tonight or on any restart, if a driver claims it, so that they can avoid any kind of post-race penalties.
And the big thing is that you cannot claim it over voice chat. You have to use a C letter to put into the text chat. That way the admins have a running log as to who said it, when they said it, and how obviously it works out in comparison to the rest of this race. So a new system in place with all those yellows that came out over the last few weeks of 4-wide action, trying to make sure this 4-wide season, at least the rest of it, is just a little bit tidied up at the end of it all. Top 3 have stayed out on the old Goodyear Eagles. Mikey Neal hoping that this call plays out in his favor. Green flag from Kentucky. Solid jump from the Carolina Hurricane Chevrolet. Castro Machine right behind him. Michael Wall stays put. Moreno tries to fight. They're 3 wide for third.
Really
3
wide
aggressive moves.
And there's more contact. Moreno trying to force Randy Showers out of the way in turn 3.
And you saw how the old tires played a role there. Randy Showers tried to let Jaden Porter through, but ended up getting into Moreno, and that cost Moreno the spot to his teammate Jaden Porter. Lost some fuel trying his best to get through. See a couple more cars battling further back with Curtis Kelly side by side with Lautenschlager, but so far for the top 2, they cleared for the positions and they have held on. So clearly the track position with those 20-lap tires are working to their advantage.
Neal trying to use the same strategy that his teammate Jaden Porter did at Nashville Superspeedway late in the going. Stayed out on very old Goodyear Eagles and stayed out for the race victory. Had enough juice to hold on off of Alexander Schumacher and a lot of the other drivers that took 4 fresh tires. Neal still in control in the clean air. Here's the battle for 5th into turn 1.
You see Lawson Peel's going to get clear of that 22 right there, and we start to see these fresh tires get single filed out right here. Porter got around Moreno, and that could be big as this race develops, as Moreno kind of had control over the course of the early stages of this race, but now with Jaden Porter around him at his home racetrack trying to bring it home for himself.
And Peel could try and lurk on the 92 of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Big thing about these 3 drivers, Charlie, is that they're going to be out in dirty air, at least for Moreno's sake, going to be in the race lead. How big does that affect the driver when you're on fresh tires? You know you're faster, but you just can't get the air on the racetrack.
Well, you're not going to be able to get around them, and that's going to bring you to me down here on pit road. You're going to eventually want some fresh tires if you're not able to get around a driver. But yeah, the first car on fresh tires right now is Jaden Porter. Got around Ethan Fonseca Moreno. That's going to be detrimental, and we may see him back down here sooner rather than later.
So he runs 4th right now. Craig Lautenschlager peeking to the inside of Showers. Battle between Ford Mustangs in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Again, Showers on the older set of tires, but not doing too shabby for himself, Francisco, at least in terms of the track position. He is losing bits of pieces as the laps go on, but not as much as you'd anticipate, especially given this new update with the next-gen car. Old tires matter, but you can still work out and still be at the front of this field, or at least make up track positioning. Look at that defense from Showers at the exit of 4. Holds on to 6th place. Lautenschlager will have to try again to turn 1.
And on the restart, when we got a full lap under the green flag, the top 2 ran their fastest laps of the race on the lap that we went back under green. So clearly for lap time and for trying to run your best laps, you need to be up front where the cleaner air is. So I think drivers have seen what to do. They're going to experiment with what to try elsewhere in this race. If 2 tires or even staying out is possible, depending how long the run is. I think if we get another 15 to 30 laps, really, that's a range that's pretty acceptable to see drivers possibly stay out just for the track position's sake. So we'll see how this develops. So far, so good for Mikey Neal as Jaden Porter slowly catching up to Michael Walls.
And it's Randy Showers, the rookie, trying to capture one of his best finishes in his 4-wide career. Ended up with the top 10 at Auto Club Speedway. So to give kudos to the driver of the 22 after his first several starts was a bit rough for him, but he's been able to find his groove. Top 10 at Auto Club after rolling off in 28th. Did a solid job at surviving a lot of the chaos then, and continues to run for top 10 position. This would be his career best run. If he finishes where he's at, he runs 8th, with Curtis Kelly trying to get to the outside of Craig Lautenschlager. Quick update on Kyle Benson as he continues to run through this field. Francisco, it's been a little bit of a tough journey, but got saved by the bell, or at least saved by the yellow flag. Runs 20th right now as he tries to carve right in front of Brandon Banks, Trevor Haley in the lot in front.
A slow recovery progress here for Kyle Benson as he's gotten back up into the top 20 for the first time in this race as he sits behind that 5 car of Brandon Banks. He's been trying to figure out this race car. It's been a little bit of tough sledding. That was the perfect opportunity for him to possibly stay out and get some track position, but probably wasn't too confident in the tires and his ability to hang on up there. But we'll see if him seeing what the top 3 have been able to do on this restart, if that affects his strategy going forward to get him some track position.
Could be used by a green flag pit stop scenario. Could help the 38 car, although we'll just keep an eye on the Cheez-It machine as he rolls through. Gave me some tips and tricks a couple days ago. It was fun having that conversation with him and really did express, Keelan, the level of frustration he's had this season alongside Lawson Peel, 2 very stout drivers, 2 bona fide championship contenders. We've seen them both run for titles before, but the start of Season 8 has been a nightmare, to say the least, trying to restart their season little by little, take it race by race. Benson hoping that this patient approach can help him get back to winning ways. While you watch this battle for P7 right now, it's starting to get dicey up in the top 10.
It is, and we've seen Eric Schaefer and Curtis Kelly just kind of follow each other through the field, and that is what they are doing right now, just making their way up, making track position, but they're getting hounded down by Craig Lautenschlager in the 13, who's trying to get a good finish in his own right. It's been a rough sledding for Murray Reed Motorsports as a team, really, to get the season started, so trying to get some momentum in that Ford camp for any of them to get up there and try and contend for wins at some point as this season progresses, as Lautenschlager keeping his nose on the outside of Schaefer there on the outside, just inside the top 10.
As we watch this battle between a DBR Chevrolet and a Murray Reedy Motorsports Ford Mustang, Schaefer will make that spot up in turns 3 and 4, but Lautenschlager has done a solid job of pointing his nose up high in 3 and 4. We're starting to see that canvas start to be painted little by little. Drivers are spreading out in 3 and 4, looking for every bit of clean air, everything that they can work for at the end of this long green flag run, should we end up continuing to some green flag pit stops. Down to pit road and to Charlie Beyer.
And guys, just another update. We do have another DNF for tonight. Brandon Gillis did disconnect from the session. Again, wasn't able to find any on-track incident with him involved, but that'll close the book on his Kentucky race. But I do have some surprising news for myself. Amir Bascombe is on the track right now, and he's on the lead lap, on the back straightaway right now, and that number 27. After that incident that brought out the yellow flag, the yellow flag that he claimed, he's back out there and looking to get some damage repaired and try to get back in this thing.
Runs 31st is that final car on the lead lap, so entirely not race over for Amir Bascombe. Watch this, 3 wide, down the back straightaway, and Alexander Schumacher, what a move, slinging to the bottom is Juan Escamilla for position.
Yeah, he's been clicking off some really good lap times the last couple of laps, has been making that outside lane work on both ends of the racetrack, and from just outside the top 15, let's look at Rock trying to go to the outside. Oh, Schaefer there in the middle of the Schumacher after qualifying in 11th or 7th, as you see some contact further back. Schumacher's done a great job to drive his way up into the top 10, and he looks like he has a quick piece under him to continue what we have dubbed as the shoe sanity run of the summer into fall.
Had his best career finish not too long ago here in 4-wide competition, and just continues to ascend up this long mountaintop. And he runs in top 8 territory. Really good gap right behind to Justin Rott, Eric Schaefer. Really this gaggle of machines that continue to huddle around each other. Healy and Schaefer have been around each other for maybe as long as I can count on my fingers over the course of this green flag run. Escamilla down the inside looking for some placement. And all the way in the back, fellow Dark Horse Motorsports teammate of Nicholas Baumann trying to fend off AJ Green to turn 3. So the battles continue inside this top 10, Francisco.
And you know, Kenneth, I'm looking at this separation, at least at the front of the field, and despite the newer tires, Jaden Porter is now starting to lose ground. your race leaders. They're just running similar lap times, but the gap has grown. It's 8/10 between Michael Walls and Mikey Neal, and it's 8/10 further back to Jaden Porter, and then it's another about 7/10 or so to Ethan Fonseca. Add another 7/10 to Lawson Peel, and so on until you get to Schumacher, Kelly, and Mountainslogger back there for the 7th spot or so. So the front of the field gets spread out very easily. I can see why the 8 and the 60 decided to go with this call, because it at least gave them track position so that when it gets spread out like this, look at the gap that they have. You think back to the driver who stayed out with them in the 22 of Randy Showers. He's back in 15th. He's in a hornet's nest. He's been under attack ever since the restart. That's probably where they would have been if they kept running where they were, but instead now they're 1 and 2 with a healthy gap, and really their only disadvantage is having to pit before everybody else and having that risk of a caution flag coming out while they're still lapped.
Yeah, well, that risk taken by Neal, Michael Walls, and Randy Showers, Keelan, isn't the fact that they're going to be leading this charge up at the front. It's that in about 5 laps time, they may have to hit pit road. They don't want to really hit this under green. They'll fall a lap down. They're going to have to pray that the rest of this run ends up single file and green flag racing.
That's what it's doing so far. So if that's what they need to happen, that is what is happening as it stands right now. People are starting to spread out a little bit, and they'll play into their hands a little bit more, but remember in the pace laps, Charlie told us that pit window about 45 to 50 laps, so getting closer and closer to that number.
And Mikey Neal continues to add on to the lap leading total. Again, talked to our good friend Charlie Beyer earlier on in the 1,000 Islands Correct pre-race show, and just mentioned how he really just had to get over that heartbreak from Auto Club Speedway just 2 weeks ago in that race. It really was his for the taking. Had the lead on the overtime restart, had the lead clearly out of turn 4. It was just a contact at the exit of that final corner between himself and Gabriel Zahari, sent him spinning, gave Juergensmeyer the victory in that car running in P3. And so far, this seems to be the proper comeback statement for the Wake Forest North Carolinian, who reps the Carolina Hurricanes after starting in 8th. Done a good job of staying out on the green flag sequence, and is now holding on to the lead by just nearly a second over the Daytona winner in Michael Walls. And we mentioned those 2 prior races at Kentucky in season history. It was seasons 1 and 2. Forrest Wynn won the first edition. Scott Healy, who currently runs inside the top 11, is the winner of the second race. And both those drivers combined average start of 6.5. It's taken track position to win here at Kentucky. Mikey Neal not that far off the marker at 8th place when this green flag drops. So we'll keep an eye on whether track position will be the name of the game. It just seems like track position is in favor for almost every one of these drivers in this group. Craig Lounslager included. Inside charge on Curtis Kelly for turn 1.
See him get to the inside of Kelly right there, trying to make that position. Sense it down deeper into turn number 1. We have seen that middle work today pretty decently when trying to make passes, at least for Curtis Kelly that time, going to surrender the position to the 13.
And he'll patrol the single file train. It's him, Kelly, Rod, Schaefer, Healy, and Juan Escamilla. The run all the way down to 12th place. These drivers, Francisco, really haven't given up. They've been sort of similar on pace, 30.8 between all of them. Seems like they are right on the marker with each other. This could be the best fighting we see all night long as the top group have separated.
And I think this proves, Kenneth, more than anything, that qualifying is going to matter a lot more than it did ever before. You want the track position, you want to have it as early as possible, and you want to protect it for the rest of the race. You see Schaefer now climb up to the outside of Curtis Kelly here off the corner, or rather Justin Roth to go side by side just behind the 71 of Curtis Kelly. Drivers have done a good job of getting up to the top 10. Schaefer took care of his stuff a little bit earlier, and now he's starting to find some speed. He moved up a lane, and that 3 car looks a little bit quicker. You see Curtis Kelly has to leave him the space now in that battle for 8th, as Rott will try to figure out a way to follow him through. But how about Alexander Schumacher? He is slowly but surely running the fastest lap times of anybody inside this top 10, and he has caught up to Lawson Peel quickly.
Again, a driver who's been close to winning in his first full-time 4-wide season. Mentioned that podium finish at Nashville Superspeedway. Had a chance to win that one in the final few overtime attempts against Jaden Porter. Could not do it, but just told us how happy he was to even be there. And we talked to him earlier this afternoon. He told me that if it meant coming to a championship 5 berth, and if he's able to capture the crown, it would be probably the biggest achievement in his sim racing career. He's been simming on iRacing since 2020, told us that he saw the Fox race of the eNASCAR Pro Invitational Series at Homestead, thought it was cool, his parents thought it was cool, they went right to the computer store, bought a PC, and that's where he started his iRacing journey, looking to capture his first 4-wide win, and tracking down one of the all-time best 4-wide drivers with 25 4-wide victories. This battle for 5th getting good to turn 3.
Alexander Schumacher, who's been on a run as of late, putting together some good runs. As we see Mikey Neal hit pit road, we knew they had to coming soon. They bought themselves a few laps with those cautions that started to come down and let them save a little bit more fuel. Charlie.
And Randy Showers also came in. Michael Wallace also going to come in behind Mikey Neal. But the track just dropped for the number 22 car. That's 4 fresh Goodyear tires for him. Mikey Neal's coming in as well, expecting the same. And Michael Wallace, that number 60, who took over the race lead, is going to dip down here shortly. That's going to pass the lead over to Jaden Porter.
It's a 26-lap difference between Michael Wallace, who comes in now on lap 55, versus everyone who's about to cross lap 30 on their stint. There's Jaden Porter now going to assume the race lead to turn 1. New race leader here from Kentucky, and it's the hometown hero repping the green tonight as Jaden tries to strike down his second victory of this 2025 Season 8 campaign, winning at Nashville. Very emotional victory and getting his second dub there. And how important it would be, Francisco, if Porter can try and win this race tonight at his home track. He's never raced here in 4-wide competition because he wasn't around when we last raced it in Season 2, although he's got a fiery car right behind the 2 teammates going dueling once more to turn 1.
We talked to Jaden about his thoughts on the Kentucky Speedway. He says he doesn't like this version of the racetrack. It doesn't feel nearly as good at this layout as he does the old one, but so far tonight it has clearly been a really good job for him as they'll go around the lap car of Amir Bascom all the way up top. See Moreno trying to diamond the exit of the corner, get a better run on Porter, going back to turn number 1. Looks like Lawson Peel may have tagged the wall off of turn 4 as well. Looks like Schumacher will try to poke the nose underneath that 12 car possibly. So we've got battles all the way up inside this top 4. And now I'd take the question to you, Kenneth. With the leaders having already made their pit stop, do you try to run this as long as possible, praying a caution comes out to lose them the track position, or do you fear the possibility of losing some time under the green flag and you maybe get off cycle, get a little bit of a tire advantage going your way, or how would you play that?
Well, really the idea is to run as long as you can because you've already made your bed, right? You had that stay out decision. A caution didn't come out to save you just to be on the same level as everyone else. So might as well try to use whatever of the fresh tires you have. Maybe save them in this run. Wait for these guys to inevitably come down if a yellow doesn't fly. And then just hope it all prays and it works out for Michael Walls, for Randy Showers, and of course the former race leader of Mikey Neal. So we keep an eye on those Chevrolets and Fords as they work up through the field. Meanwhile, Schumacher makes the dicey move on Lawson Peel from the top shelf. And what a drive it is for the Port Huron, Michigan native, working himself up to 3rd and currently still the fastest car on the racetrack inside the top 4.
He's found something. He's definitely found something at the line he's running, the way he's running the racetrack, the way he took care of his tires. These two are going to battle now for the top spot as Moreno gets to the outside. Porter might have to check up a little bit off the corner. They nearly make contact there off of turn number 4. They'll be side by side. That's going to invite Schumacher to close the gap, and he's already faster than both of these two, so they don't really want to mess around too much and bring another one of them, and that is a teammate of theirs. But with how fast Schumacher is, he can definitely make the pass on both of these guys before the green flag pit stop sequence is completed. Porter's going to try and fight back on the bottom as much as he can, but Moreno over the last 10 or so laps has been faster than that 28, and with this moment, as you see, nearly making contact as Porter got tight on the bottom, had to drift up, checked up after they make some little bit of racing contact on there, but Moreno able to get back to the race lead after losing that spot to Porter on the restart, and Alexander Schumacher still running faster lap times than both of them is properly in this fight for the lead.
Back to the point, it's bow ties from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th back to turn 3, and most importantly, Keelan, that was the line that Moreno had used so well to catch Jaden Porter in the first place. He's been running at least a lane or two higher than everyone else over the last few laps, and it's paid off considerably. 31 flat. Now he's one of the fastest inside the top 4. Schumacher continues to track down Jaden Porter for 2nd place.
It's been an incredible couple weeks, couple months for him as a sim racer. Just the improvement that we have seen in the consistency that we have seen, and that's what happens when you're running well. You learn so much about how to be consistent in all the racing you do. That's what he's learned to do. Truck, next-gen Xfinity car, anything with an engine, anything with four wheels. He's been doing really good in it recently, and now he is running down his two teammates up here about halfway through this show, trying to get up there and get his first career four-wide victory, and oh, what that would mean to him.
Well, you know what they say, look good, feel good, right? New paint scheme for Alexander Schumacher, making its debut in four-wide competition. That was a paint designed by good friend of the network, Austin Duran, runs in the SAC Cup Series on Thursday nights, and put this Shoei Sportsbook Chevrolet together for Shoei to run in tonight's event and in the final two SAC Cup Series events. And look at this crossover at the exit of 4. Schumacher looking for second.
He's got a good run on the bottom. The question is, how much does Porter fight this? He's clearly lost pace as the 28 machine over the last 20 or so laps, and just like that, Schumacher gets up into second. He lost a little bit of time on Moreno having to get past the 28, but he sits about 3/4 of a second behind the 92. And now Lawson Peel is closing up to the back bumper of the 28 of Porter. You see Peel dive it in momentarily. He might drift up the racetrack a tad and lose a little bit of time. But Alexander Schumacher now, what does he do with the no track or no cars between himself and the race leader? So right now, coming across the halfway point on lap number 66. We know green flag pit stops are imminent. The question is, if you're one of these guys, do you pit before your competition or do you pit after? Because you already know those other drivers have made their stops. They're well underway as the caution flag waves.
And it's Kip Easley around in the middle of the corner. Heavy damage to the left front. And that could be the saving grace for those 3 cars that came down pit road not that long ago, as everyone else will follow suit.
And those drivers, I believe, that did pit under the green flag, Kenneth, are a lap down in this race. So that's actually not exactly ideal stuff. Mikey Neal was not the first car a lap down either. That goes to Curtis Kelly in the number 71, who just actually had exited the pit lane and lost a lap in the process. So interesting situation there, as all those cars are a lap down. So it's really going to hurt their track position odds, as there you see trouble for Randall Payne further up ahead and nearly connects another car there exiting the pit lane. Newbrawl then slams into the back of the 18. So we're going to have to get a couple looks at it to see what happened to that 46 machine.
So it's the rookie Randall Payne. That's that black and white IROC looking Chevrolet. That's Brian Dixon in the middle of the group. And they'll head side by side at the exit of turn 4. They'll make slight contact in the front stretch, and that will be enough. Right there, registered contact between Payne and Dixon, sends it right into Kip Easley, and that nearly took out Mikey Neal in the process. He was right in the middle of that. Even though they were a lap down, they nearly got taken out of this race, and it's a big-time decision for pit road. Charlie Byer, the whole field is in.
The whole field is in, and how about this? Tyler Murray and Curtis Kelly both hit pit road. They were on pit road as soon as the yellow flag came out. Tyler Murray went through his pit stall and exited behind the pace car. Curtis Kelly took 4 tires, so we'll see what kind of predicament it puts those drivers in. But as for the leaders, how about Alex Schumacher, guys? On rails, entering pit road second. He's going to lift the jacks, expecting 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles in his car, as we're getting pretty close to the halfway point in this race, and only 1 pit stop minimum at least if we go green until the end. But we'll see how this order shakes up. As soon as the jack drops, looking for Ethan Fonseca Moreno. He does. And now it's a race around pit road behind Alex Schumacher and Lawson Peel.
And a slow stop for Jaden Porter. Could that have been a penalty for the 28? Looks like a little bit long-winded at the exit of his box, and he'll come out in 15th. That is not the pit stop you would want if you're Jaden Porter.
23-2 on the stopwatch there for the 28 machine. And nothing really looked too off, Kenneth, with the stop itself. So I'm not really sure what problems the 28 may have faced while he was sitting in his stall. He definitely sat there for a couple seconds after the tires went down on the left side. So I'm not sure if it was possible damage repair. Maybe he hit the wall at some point, felt like he had to repair some of the damage on his race car. It didn't really look like it was hit, but nonetheless, that's going to be a big track position loss to one of the fastest cars we've seen tonight.
There's Kip Easley getting his car repaired on pit road. Michael Walls, Randy Showers among those that are attempting to get their lap back. We saw Randy Showers right behind Michael Walls. They're going to be behind the pace car. They'll get the wave around, and they should be able to regain their laps back, although they will be on the set of older Goodyear Eagles as they had that predicament, having to come down pit road earlier than the rest of the group because they had to stay out. And for Mikey Neal, could be potential trouble for the North Carolinian as the field will set up right behind the iRacing official pace car. Moreno out in front. Lawson Peel, the rainbow-colored Exalta Chevrolet, runs on the outside. And Alexander Schumacher, the whale of speed he had in those final few laps of the green flag stint, can he parlay that into a potential race-winning strategy move if he moves to the inside of either one of these drivers? And Craig Lounslager, give this shout-out to the Euless, Texas driver, born in New Zealand, trying to make his first win happen in Season 8. And the 13 machine from Murray Motorsports runs on the outside of the second row. Back to Charlie.
And just an update on Curtis Kelly, who went down pit road, took tires. As soon as the yellow flag came out, he is the first car a lap down. He is the only car 1 lap down. Randall Payne just behind is 2 laps down, as well as Amir Bascombe. And then moving on to the 3 drivers mentioned before that are done with this race: Brandon Gillis, Blaine Snyder, and Jonathan Juergensmeyer. That's an update on your cars 1 or more lap down.
Thanks, Charlie. Curtis Kelly was running in the top 15, had a really fast car. Shane was seeing beneath the lap, but if there is cautions, or there are cautions and chaos at the exit of this restart, could be some chances for the 71 machine to get back on the level playing field. Well, Moreno and Peel will have the restart zone in their favor. Moreno goes out first. Peel had to react. It's not too shallow to the green flag into turn 1.
And you see Shuey able to get a better launch, working with his teammate on the bottom. He'll have the nose out in front of that 12 car. Going through 1 and 2, Peel will try to hold the nose there on the inside, but you gotta remember they're on cold tires for the first time since one of the last restarts. Peel now peeking to the bottom of Shuey. Shuey gives him the bottom, but I'm pretty sure that 68 wants to run that second, third lane. We've seen him use that to success. Peel, though, had trouble in the middle of the corner. He's being taken 3 wide.
Nearly lost it. He's in the middle of 3 abreast. Down low is Escamilla, the silver and orange AMD Ryzen Ford Mustang of Landslager on the high side. 3 abreast, 2 rows deep to turn 1.
It's a lot tighter than you think going 3 wide here in 1 and 2, where it's a shorter corner and they all make it through, staying side by side. Escamilla on the bottom, Peel in the middle, Lautenslager on the top as they try to go into 3 and 4 and settle this battle and make it a side-by-side battle between Escamilla and Lautenslager. But here comes Peel back to the bottom. He was not done battling for that 3rd position. Now he's going to settle in behind Escamilla and push him down into the 1st and 2nd corner.
And these are all the drivers, mind you, that were trying to weave their way through the top 15. It's been a journey for some of them to try to get around each other, fight for 2nd place or fight for the lead. That's Ethan Fonseca Moreno right on the tail with Alexander Schumacher right behind. They'll look for the top spot in turns 3 and 4.
And Schumacher got right up to the back bumper of Ethan Fonseca Moreno off of turn 2. He built a great run off of turn 2 like he has done so far this evening. As you see, the big gap between themselves and 3rd place as they're continuing to battle with Lautenslager and Escamilla. That 3 wide moment really benefited these two because now they're almost a second clear of this mess of cars and they can just kind of fight it out between each other for the top spot and the track position.
And there's Peel back down the inside on the left side of your screen as Schumacher chases the Hunter on Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Escamilla holds on. Race high 3rd for the Dark Horse Racing Chevrolet. Justin Rott will help the 13 of Lautenslager back to turn 1. And that Rainbow Chevrolet just struggling for pace down the bottom. It was one mistake. Keelan Belsha in 3 and 4 that shot him up the banking and let everyone through.
He's going to settle in right behind Lautenslager there for the 5th spot. Justin Rott in tow with him as we see Moreno continue to lead this race, but Schumacher has reeled him in. We saw how good Schumacher's long run pace was towards the end of that last green flag run. Now he's trying to see with this cleaner air what he can do in the short run, but remember the advantage that Moreno is going to have. It was one of our keys to the race is how important aero will be. We see it in the real life Cup Series all the time about how that guy in the lead has so much of an advantage. While that may not be the incredible advantage on iRacing as it is in real life, it is certainly somewhat of an advantage to be out there as the lead car with that clean air, and it makes it so much harder to make that pass for the lead. Most notably, I remember it at Nashville a couple weeks ago. Jaden Porter was able to maintain that lead on 2 tires just by dirtying up the air of everybody behind him. So Moreno taking advantage of that and kind of playing a little bit of defense, taking the line away from the 68. But the 68 is doing a good job getting like a half line higher or a half line lower to get a little bit of clean air. And now look at how close that gap is in the battle for the race lead.
And apart from an opportunity for Shui to try and get his first career 4-wide victory, it's a chance for him to lead his first several 4-wide laps. Although he's finished every single start this year inside the top 10, he has never led a single trip around either of the racetracks we faced on in Season 8. So it could be a chance for him to get in clean air for the first time. They got around the lap car that IROC Chevrolet of Brian Dixon goes by, lets the top 2 running drivers through. A bit of a gap down to Juan Escamilla running in third. A great run for the sophomore tenured driver in his number 87 Chevrolet as Shui stays within a car length or 2 to the race leader, top of the wall in turn 4.
And you want to know, Kenneth, before the race tonight, he was very confident in his ability to run well here tonight. He talked about his success in the Slide Job Series race here about a month or so ago, back in August, around this racetrack in the daytime conditions. It was a really hot and slick track temperature. He was able to come away runner-up in that race, and he really felt like it would transition well to the nighttime where he would have more grip. He felt comfortable with those combination of car and track, and now he is sitting here behind one of the hottest drivers in the series right now, who is looking to try and take back the points lead for Jonathan Juergensmeyer. It's a driver who sits in the top of the points himself. I believe Alexander Schumacher is third, so we're having 2 of the top drivers of this season battling out for the position, and he's actually fourth, looking to try and take third from AJ.
Shui still hunting down the race leader in Ethan Fonseca Moreno. That time by Shui still faster, 30.657. And everyone third on back continues to put in better laps. Craig Launslugger has run in the 30.6s, although he's in this fight right here with the Charlie Bayer Photography Toyota Camry of Justin Rod. Very sneaky good run for the 07 of Rod. Has tried to put himself on the top of the pylon several times at the back end of Season 7, making his first full-time effort for Go Incorporated in Season 8. Saw his teammate Micah Walls win the race at Daytona in an elation-filled moment for that Go Incorporated team. Their first start, their first win. And Rod trying to make sure he balances off some further success on his end, holding off the best all-time 4-wide driver in Lawson Peel running in P6. So everyone running single file inside the rest of this top 10. Some shout-outs, AJ Green, Scott Healy, Brandon Banks among those in the back half of this group. If you want to look at some of the other drivers in the mid-pack, Daniel Moore running 17th at Thousand Islands Corrette, number 77, running in the midst of this group, and a lot of the formerly lapped cars behind. Michael Walsh trying to get himself back on a journey. He runs 19th.
And side by side for the race lead, Schumacher got to the inside in turns 3 and 4. He was nosing out in front at the line. You see him with the nose out in front ahead of Moreno back to turn 1. Moreno will try to power by on the outside, but off of turn 2, it's Alexander Schumacher that clears for the race lead.
And right in the wall goes Moreno. They'll stay within a car length to turn 3. And for the first time, it could be a lap lead for Alexander Schumacher in his 4-wide career. Moreno will try and hold force to the inside. He's got no run. Schumacher gets his first lap lead in the lead here at Kentucky.
Closing in on around 50 laps to go here, so we still have a pit stop before we get to where we can be safe on fuel. Schumacher gets out to the race lead. Now the goal for him has got to be to run away and hide. Put some seconds in between you and Moreno to the best of your ability. As you see right there, plague that dirty air in front of him. Slow that car down in the corner and allow yourself to pull away a little bit. Try to get a gap built up so you can kind of pit when you want to. So the further out in front you are, if Moreno short pits you by a lap, it's not the end of the world. You may be able to maintain that race lead. Getting on a pit road is going to be a challenge in itself if it does happen under green flag conditions.
And Francisco, something that Kyle Benson told me about is that you can sort of dime in the corners here at Kentucky. That seems to be the preferable line for Schumacher, and he's the fastest car on the racetrack because of it.
Yeah, he's the only one really actually running that kind of line. I noticed that very early, but he has been consistent with it, and now that he's leading, he is still using it. He doesn't quite do it there. He goes and runs the bottom to try and take away the air from 92, kind of impede any progress he can possibly make towards him. But he had been running that arc. He basically enters about a lane off the wall once he's in the corner, and he kind of drifts down with his left sides towards the top half of the bottom lane, and that gives him a really great run down the back straightaway, and he runs 3 and 4 pretty normally, and that gives him a great overall lap time performance. You see this time he was about 0.2 of a second quicker Ben Moreno, but I think now that he has the lead and is starting to put on a gap, he's trying to transition back to the bottom, probably trying to save whatever tires he has underneath his race car. And now he has to think about, okay, how do I save? You're not going to save fuel to get to the checkered flag here, but you want to play the right strategy. And this brings me back to the point I was talking about before the caution, Kenneth, is with a yellow like that coming out and throwing a wrench into the progress of some drivers who pitted before it. Now that the pit window's open, do you pit now? Do you split the run? Do you wait until the very end? What would you do?
I mean, it would just be a call based on where you are track position-wise. I'd imagine if you're any one of these guys in the back half of the top 10, maybe some sneaking in the top 15, maybe want to get an undercut position like a Kyle Benson, who again had to start this race on an end-of-line penalty and a drive-through when the green flag came out, looking to try and puncture his way up to the top 10, get himself a decent point stay after what was a shallow start from the penalty he picked up at Auto Club Speedway 2 weeks ago. And the same could be said for the Kentucky native of Jaden Porter. Haven't seen him in the top group since that slow pit stop. While everyone was under yellow, everyone had come in Keelan. It was a slow entrance and exit for Jaden Porter. Had to get out in 15th. He's only picked up 4 since the drop of the green flag on the restart, looking for one more on Eric Schaefer. And now his whole strategy changes because of it.
Yeah, it's been a key that I have mentioned in about every next-gen race so far this season in Season 8 is track position. And at the risk of being redundant, unfortunately did not put it on there today. But it is still a key, so just ingrain that in your mind whenever we run a race this season. Track position, track position, track position. It is so important. Unfortunately, Jaden Porter had that slow pit stop, and you see the negatives of what losing that track position does. Had to restart back in the 15th position. He's only made it up to 11th with probably a top 3 car on speed today. So that is how important having that track position is. And now kind of wedged back here outside of the top 10 makes it so much harder to make up ground, especially with how dirty air affects these race cars, how the aerodynamics affect these race cars. There's so much going on with the way the car goes, the air goes over the top of the car in front of you, and it can really put a damper on the nose of your car. So when you lose that track position, it is a lot of trouble.
And there's that fight. Benson down the inside of Porter, trying to get his nose dirty underneath. Porter will shut him down at the exit of turn 4. That bright green Love Your Mind Chevrolet. That's an ally car in terms of Mental Health Month and trying to raise awareness on mental health and the issues that it can cause, and telling people that they do have hope. You do have hope if you're struggling mentally. And there's that Cheez-It car right behind Benson trying to make forth the effort. That battle continues inside the top 15. Well, as this green flag run persists, let's go through the field on the KBueno Racing Network. We're going to start with the race leader. And how about this shoe sanity continuation for Alex Schumacher? Hasn't finished the race outside of the top 10 in any one of his 4 wide racing starts for Season 8. And tonight is the exemplary dominating car night for the Michigan native of Schumacher, still looking for his first ever win in a season that's been filled by KBueno Racing domination, trying to get 6 consecutive wins, the most dominant start from a team that we've seen ever in 4-wide history. Schumacher leading now more than 12 laps and counting, with at least one more pit stop to go. With just about 32 laps remaining, Schumacher right in the prime spot to get checkered flag number 1 in his career.
Pole sitter Ethan Fonseca Moreno has led the most laps so far in tonight's race, but he sits second right now to his teammate Alexander Schumacher. Possibly will need a caution or some kind of different strategy to go his way to get back in that fight, but as it stands right now, Moreno's slowly starting to chip back in on that gap to the race leader, so don't discount the 92 from being able to win a 3rd race this season.
Almost a year ago to the date was Juan Escamilla's best career finish. October 23rd, 2024. He picked up a 3rd place finish at Watkins Glen, and to the date, that is still his best career finish in 4 wide. He's looking to equal that today here at Kentucky. Started back in 14th and ran just outside the top 10 to get things started. He has slowly but surely made up his ground, and with a dangerous 3-wide move a little bit early, he has put that dark horse Chevrolet into the 3rd position. Juan Escamilla putting together a good run today in Sparta.
3 Drinking Bros Racing drivers in the top 10. The highest running driver is Lawson Peel. The definition of his race today is consistency. Has run in the top 5 all night long, lowest of 11th, highest of 2nd. He's only gone up from his starting position in this race, and he hasn't dropped out too far below the top 10. Guys, Lawson Peel is looking to bring home a very solid day today.
The last time we saw Craig Lounslugger get a top 10, it was to begin this month at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and ran one race here at Kentucky Speedway. The last one we had in 2021 ended up with a 5th place finish, but to start, it has been sort of a rocky season for Lounslugger and Murray Reedy Motorsports, trying to capture the team championship. Obviously a big importance to them, but the Drivers' Championship for Lounslugger, who's been so close several times in his career. It's been a good run here from Kentucky back to the old days for the 13 machine. He runs in 5th, exactly where he finished about 4 years ago.
And sitting in 6th is Nicholas Bauman. It's been a decent run for the number 88 machine, continuing what has been a really solid season, trying to build on what was a nice rookie campaign back in season 7 where he won the All-Star race. And a day like today is exactly what the doctor orders for the number 88 machine. Bauman currently sits just outside the playoff cut line. He was tied for 19th going into the race, so he's looking to try and continue this with a nice result that'll boost him up into the cut line battle.
Brandon Banks in the 5 machine made the playoffs last season after a late regular season charge to put himself in there. A seasoned veteran here in 4 wide. He's been putting together a good run today at Kentucky, trying to pull some momentum together for the Drinking Bros Racing guys, especially for Brandon Banks himself. Only 1 finish inside the top 10 so far this season. It was a 4th place finish at Indianapolis, but looking to get that 2nd top 10 of the season, currently sitting in 7th in that 5 car.
That's a pretty good-looking car running in 8th right now, guys. Justin Rott, we saw a heartbreaking finish with him in the KBueno Truck Series with a nose deep into the outside wall in the final corner, guys. Justin Rott is still breaking in his starts in the 4-wide TJ's Team Cup Series, but running consistently, started all the way back in the 29th position, highest of 5th, currently sitting safely inside the top 10 in that Charlie Bayer Photography number 07.
Running in 9th place is the North Carolinian of A.J. Green, who last season started off with only 1 top 10 in the first 5 starts. Well, ever since he's got 3 top 10s in the first 5 starts in Season 8. It's surely been a turnaround as Green has gotten more accustomed to this next-gen car, one that he found success with early on in Seasons 4 and 5. Right now pouncing on Justin Rott, and a very characteristically good night for AJ Green. Just give him long green flag runs. He seems to be very comfortable. His car very fast. The green car shining on the green walls here at Kentucky as he fights for 8th.
Eric Schaefer running inside the top 10, trying to recover from last season, trying to have a better start, better momentum roll to his season, as Rott, I believe, went down the pit lane. And Eric Schaefer running inside the top 10, been a solid night for the 3 cars so far, looking to try and have a quiet but steady night to capture another solid finish here from Kentucky, as the green flag pit stop cycle could be starting here in the next couple laps.
That was Justin Rott coming in this time by, so he gives up the track position. He's going to be the first one to strike, getting the 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles as Moreno slowly chips away at the battle for the race lead against Alexander Schumacher. Again, Charlie, this is the final green flag pit stop sequence that we should have if we continue without a yellow flag. And now the 2nd place car, Moreno's in with 102 laps complete.
Yeah, this is it. This is going to bridge the gap to the end of the race, guys. Only just passing lap 100 and only going to be just over 30 laps left in this entire race. But, guys, how many times have we seen a yellow flag fly during green flag pit stops? Whether it's here, whether it's the KBueno Truck Series, we've seen it plenty of times. So I wonder if these guys are just trying to get to the pit road and get these fresh tires on as soon as possible and just put it out of their minds.
And there's the calling card for Alex Schumacher. Thank you, Charlie. Looks like a good call here for Schumacher. He'll stay out the extra lap. Nicholas Bauman will come out of the racetrack. He'll take the race lead. AJ Green back in 2nd. Jaden Porter will stay out the extra lap. Crucial there for a driver just running on the outskirts of the top 10. Francisco could be the right call to just be on the little bit of an overcut for Schumacher, who's had the best car over the long run. But now it's all on the fresh out duel on fresh rubber.
We'll see how much of that plays a role for the 92. It was about 0.6 of a second behind the 68 when he pitted. We'll see how efficient he was able to get in and out of the pit lane. You see Moreno about to cross the start-finish line. Schumacher already at the end of pit lane, and a much better entry for the 92 is going to give him the race lead over Alexander Schumacher, and even a couple other cars were able to go by, including Lawson Peel. Numerous cars going by Alexander Schumacher, so it's not exactly a tire difference that played this role, Kenneth, but it is just the cleanliness of getting into the pit lane, trying to get as much as possible. Schumacher wasn't as aggressive, and it ended up proving dividends because he has lost 3 spots to Peel, Rott, and Kelly, as Moreno will be the first of those that have already made a pit stop. Actually, Jaden Porter is.
And I had this conversation with Kyle Benson a pair of days ago, talking about how important green flag stops could be here at Kentucky. It's one of those intermediate tracks that, much like a Homestead, a Las Vegas, an Atlanta Motor Speedway, a Chicagoland, it's not characteristically easy to get down pit road. It's a challenge for a lot of the drivers, and it was a big challenge for me to even get as much of time as possible down on the braking entry marker off of turn number 4, but that's the big difference. Moreno is the big benefactor. Nicholas Baumann will stay out. He'll lead some laps here at Kentucky with the final 28 laps to go. Austin Reedy, Chris Fowler, the top 3 to Charlie.
And a pit road speeding penalty for Christopher Bishop, who's running inside of the top 10. He's going to be held down pit road for just a little bit longer during these green flag pit stops. Not what you want to see.
Thank you, Charlie. Tough news there for the 42 machine of Bishop, as his race will be derailed as we get through our long green flag run. That's really not where you want to make that mistake, Keelan. We've seen that happen a couple times this season where you run green for long enough, it's just one poor decision or just one hiccup. As you come down to pit lane, the black flag comes out, and your race, as it stays green, is over in competition for a decent finish. It looks like it's not going to be that way for car number 42.
And here we see AJ Green exiting pit road. Nicholas Baumann still on the racetrack in that 88 car, Francisco. So what do you think about this? We have seen so many races this season devolve into late race yellows and haven't really seen a complete green flag pit stop cycle. What do you think about the 88 strategy? I kind of like it. I mean, we have seen the trend that we have seen in races this season is we'll get into a green flag pit cycle and never be able to complete it by the time a caution comes out. So Nicholas Baumann, Austin Reedy, 2 guys who are out, Chris Fowler, the 3 that have yet to pit, trying to play this long game strategy. I kind of like it because if it happens now, trap everybody a lap down, you get those fresh tires to restart in front of them.
That was exactly what I was thinking, Keelan, is that you stay out to try and trap as many cars a lap down. You don't have anything to lose if you're Nicholas Baumann, so you may as well run out here and hope that somebody makes a mistake on the racetrack to bring us under the yellow flag. But right now he sits on lap 41 of his stint, so he could probably go maximum about another 10 or so laps. So he's hoping that if the yellow flag comes out, it'll be within that time frame before he'll be forced to bring it down the pit lane to refuel. Critical note on the pit stops as well. Moreno, Peel, Rott, and Porter, amongst other drivers, they took 2 tires on their pit stop. Alexander Schumacher, the only driver up in that front bunch to take 4 tires. So those, you look at Moreno's stop of 10.3 and Shuey's of 15.0, those 5 seconds played a huge role in the gap that currently sits at about 4 seconds. So is that a mistake strategy-wise from the 68 to go for 4 instead of 2?
Well, it looked like he was more comfortable taking the 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. It could cost him a chance at tonight's victory with 24 laps to go at the start-finish line. There's Austin Reedy, that bright blue and orange Yunk Ford Mustang, as he runs in second place. Again, him, Chris Fowler, and the race leader Nicholas Baumann still yet to make their final trip down pit road, hoping that the yellow could save them from a potential strategy that takes them out of contention for a win. And there's Lawson Peel moving down the inside. That will not fully unlap these drivers, but they are inching closer. And it's 2.7 seconds from Reedy's Ford Mustang to the Nicholas Baumann car, who continues to lead this race. And what a momentous occasion it would be as Lawson Peel puts himself in the right place track position-wise. We mentioned intermediate wins across his 4-wide career. He's got the most with 10, with that most recent coming at Atlanta Motor Speedway to Charlie.
And thank you, Unc. Yeah, 3 drivers still left on the racetrack occupying the top 3 spots, still have yet to come down the pit road. So far, every single person who has pit during the green flag pit stops is all scot-free. No pit road penalties to report beyond Christopher Bishop, who got a pit road speeding penalty. He spent a little bit more time down there. So we're expecting to see these guys in about 10 laps, and we'll start to see the leaders, or excuse me, 4th on deck, start to unlap themselves.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm going to try to ignore the first several words of that sentence, but we'll be back on this green flag stint. Here's the best battle currently inside the back half of the top 10. Curtis Kelly, that huge mistake, not necessarily a mistake, but a poorly timed circumstance, coming down pit road, fell a lap down as the yellow came out at the wrong time. He's been able to find himself back in a momentous place to get a top 10 run. There he's passed by the paulscars.com Chevrolet of Brandon Banks, Juan Escamilla right behind, and Craig Lounslager, a quartet of drivers who have really surged well tonight, trying to look for some of their best finishes of this Season 8 campaign. Look at the send by Escamilla, trying to forcefully make his way up the high side, and he does. That is the fresh tires for you. Curtis Kelly on 47 lap old tires. He still needs to come down pit road. There's the race leader, Nicholas Baumann, finally making his trip on into pit road. Charlie Beyer, Austin Reedy will take the race lead.
And it's time for these final 3 drivers that are still on the lead lap to start coming down pit road. And these drivers, fourth on back, to start getting their laps back. So the lead will swiftly change over back to Ethan Fonseca Moreno, so long as nothing else happens as they are unlapping themselves. So only a few seconds between the few leaders, guys. It's shaping up for a good one.
Well, remember, that gap between Moreno and Peel remains at inside of a second, Keelan, so there is still a chance for the Columbus, Mississippi native to try and win this race. Moreno isn't clear of the woods just yet.
Not quite. And what momentum that would be for Austin Reedy and Lawson Peel into 12 after such a rough season to get things started, to be able to get a good finish where he is. But we see Austin Reedy at 34 trying to play that long game, trying to make things work. Caution comes out now. He's still trapping a lot of people a lap down and improving his finishing position, but he will be having to come in for service in not too longer.
Well, we mentioned that Lawson Peel, one of his last intermediate victories was at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's the same for Austin Reedy, but just a lot more time apart from the last time this 34 car visited Victory Lane. It's been since season 5 as he rubs fenders there with Alex Schumacher at the exit of turn 2. And did something happen to the 68? He'll blink right back into existence and sail off into turn 3. But for Austin Reedy, this could be a large victory for the driver out of Delaware, trying to get back to winning ways for Meridian Motorsports and get their first win in a while, as Schumacher and Jaden Porter squabble for 6th place.
That momentum really hurt the 68. He was making some ground up on the number 07 of Justin Rott for possibly getting the top 5 spot away, and that'll now put him in the hands in a battle with Jaden Porter, as I believe Austin Reedy will try to make it into the pit lane this time. Indeed, there he is, slowing down on the racetrack, going to the flat, and he'll bring it down the pit lane. We'll see if Chris Fowler, who's currently 2nd, follows him through, and he's slowing down in 3 and 4. So the 11 car will make his way down in the lane, and that will hand the lead back to Ethan Fonseca Moreno here, approaching what will be 16 laps to go in this race. And there's the gap to Lawson Peel. It sits at about 8.5 tenths between those two. You have to go another 2 seconds back to Justin Rott. So this could be a battle between two Titans who have gone at it against each other for a championship many seasons ago.
They have been aggressive against each other. They understand the assignment when it comes to racing each other. And now it's a chance for them to have a fight one more time here in Season 8. As Moreno leads by 0.8 of a second, Lawson Peel running in that runner-up spot, looking for his best finish of the campaign. And Justin Rott, the rookie driver for Goat Incorporated, trying to reel them down. He's still 2.5 seconds back. And Keelan, I'd say even if you're Lawson Peel, you don't get a victory, this will be a feel-good day. It'll feel like a victory, especially after the chaos and all of the trials and tribulations he's had to face this season so far.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself about these top two. What a tale of 2 seasons it has been for Ethan. Just every race has pretty much fallen perfectly for him. The 2 victories and going to take over the points lead at the end of the day, barring anything tragic happening. And for Lawson, just a terrible season, to say the least, to start things off for him. So to come into this round of the season and get some momentum on your side so you can try and make a push for another championship. These 2 guys both champions in the past. We have yet to have a repeat champion in this series before, so they both want to be the first to do it, and it's just been 2 totally different seasons. But now the scale is kind of evened out, and now they're racing each other out for a race win, what could be here at Kentucky. So these 2 guys, they're going to fight each other tooth and nail. If Peel can get there, they'll be racing hard.
And in one of Lawson Peel's most dominant seasons, which was Season 5, fresh off of his championship in Season 4, it took him a total of 8 races to win 3 races. For this season, it may take 7 races for Moreno to win 3. And what a statement season it's been so far to start for Ethan Fonseca Moreno, searching for the championship in the SAC Cup Series finale tomorrow at Auto Club. And a former champion in this series who's seen glory once against that 12 car, trying to continue to ascend of the all-time wins list. His most recent victory put him 4th. On the all-time winning column, he can tie Colin Forrester for 3rd. So a large surge for the San Jose Californian, who will see 11 laps to go. Next time by, the gap stays at 0.8 of a second.
And there's some lap traffic to deal with ahead of this 92. A couple of cars at that. I believe the first one in front of him is it's a purple and black car. I believe possibly Christopher Bishop in the number 42. And further up ahead is Randy Showers in the 22, the last car on the lead lap in 23rd. So we'll see which lines those drivers decide to take, how much of a role they'll play. As here's Alexander Schumacher, or actually this is the Craig Lautenslager machine with Nicholas Baumann. Remember, Baumann waited all the way to the very end to the pit, so he probably has the freshest tires out on the racetrack. He'll squeeze by ahead of the 13, who slams the outside wall. Does not spin as he keeps the car under him, but that's going to really damage the 13 here for the closing laps of this race, as Baumann will move up to 8th. He'll try to close up to 7th, and his teammate and Juan Escamilla. How about Brandon Banks sitting in the 6th spot right now, trying to claim a top 6 finish at the end of it all, and Schumacher only half a second behind Justin Rupp for what would be his 3rd top 3 finish on the season. And all the while, Ethan Fonseca Moreno's gap to Lawson Peel is growing with 10 to go.
There's Brandon Banks running in P6, in between Porter and Escamilla, 5th and 7th place. And Drinkin' Bros Racing slowly but surely getting their form back tonight from Kentucky. They've been rather fast, and it's Lawson Peel leading the way with a chance for a victory, but he's slowly letting Moreno seep through the fingertips. 9 laps to go here from Kentucky Speedway, and the 92 looking for his 3rd victory of 2025. You'll see a pair of cars going side by side in front. That's Randy Showers and Christopher Bishop. That 42 car with the pit road speeding penalty. Moreno may look through the middle, 3 wide off turn 4.
Gotta be careful here if you're Moreno. You do not want a lap car to be the reason you're out of this one. We saw a lap car cause an issue for Micah Walls running in 2nd in Indianapolis. So take your time with these guys. You got a bit of a gap down to Peel, and send them Lawson Peel's way. The more you can get around and put in between you two, the better it is for you in that 92. Looking for his 3rd win of the year. And you talk about Ethan, and he came off that championship in season 6 and kind of had a rough go at things for the first 20 some odd races last season. Finally got back in stride at Talladega and Charlotte. Now this season started, and it's just like he's in his prime all again, Kenneth. It has been the championship form that we were used to seeing in that season 6 campaign.
And he's flying right now. 30.855. Francisco continues to gap Peel, coming to 6 laps to go.
And I said this earlier in the show, Kenneth. From my experience racing against Ethan for so many years, when he's in the zone, when he's locked in, when he is concentrated on just one thing and one thing only, that is possibly the most difficult driver to deal with, the most difficult driver to pass on the racetrack. It is just so difficult to beat him, to get him out of that zone. When he is just in that area, he is one of the toughest drivers to beat. He becomes one of the best drivers that you will ever compete against. And it's early days in Season 8, but we've seen that. It's just been a night and day difference between Season 7 and Season 8. These updates have really benefited him, his driving style, how he runs these races. And as he pulls a 1.2 second gap to Peel, he is really trying to capture his win.
And if you think about it, it's kind of how Season 6 started. For Moreno's rookie campaign, he stood on the top of the pylon against the field several times early on in that year with the Xfinity Series car, and we said to ourselves, this is a championship contender, no doubt about it. And in a Season 7 that was very peculiar for this 92 car, he's found himself back into full form. And with 4 laps to go, he sees a 3rd race victory this season right in front of his face. No lap traffic to deal with. It's clean track down the back straightaway, and it's 1.5 seconds back to Peel.
And with how these races have shaken out, you cannot be playing back at all here if you're Ethan, and you got to be just a little bit nervous. We have had so many of these things end up going down to overtime restarts, late race restarts, so they're looking pretty good right now if this goes green, but there are still 2 more green flag laps for there to possibly be a problem. Alexander Schumacher, got a feel for him. He was running really well, stood toe-to-toe with Ethan, and probably could have picked him off if it wasn't for the slow entry into pit road, or slower than those guys out front. Probably cost him a bit of time there, but now he's trying to fight back with Justin Roth for that final step on the podium here in that 68 car. He has had a lot of speed today. Shoe sanity is going to continue. So what a run he's been on, as Ethan Fonseca Moreno takes 2 to go He's going to try to hang on to this thing down the backstretch for the second to the last time.
A big what if for Schumacher, took 4 tires instead of the race leader, who grabbed 2 on the last green flag pit stop. And from Kentucky Speedway, we'll see the white flag in the air for the Quaker State Chevrolet of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Someone who easily has become one of 4 Wide's all-time best is getting into his best form we've seen him all time. And after dominating from the pole and leading a ton of laps midway through strategy, he puts himself 3rd on the all-time wins list and says, forget the big 3, it's just the big me. Off of the final corner in our 3rd trip to Kentucky, race victor Ethan Fonseca Moreno, 3rd time in Season 8.
And as the fireworks go off, for the 3rd time this season, it's Ethan Fonseca Moreno capturing the race win. You think about the different tracks he's gotten them at too, with Richmond, with Montreal, with Kentucky, a versatile set of racetracks compared to his championship season where they were at the intermediate style tracks. He has come back with just a different energy to it, as you see the congratulatory tap by Peel and his teammates and friends coming up and joining him. It was not an easy win for Moreno. He lost the track position to 28 and 68, but he fought back, he persisted, he had a great strategy call, and ultimately it got him the ultimate prize.
And this one is for our KBRN brother, Nate Polite. This is going to be the 6th win in the first 7 races for KBueno Racing, as Ethan's going to put it in Paul's setup shop victory lane.
Perhaps the most dominant team tenure we've seen to start any 4-wide season. 6 races won in a row over the first 7 events, and it's Moreno leading the way for his KBueno Racing teammates, and it's his 2nd win in the last 3 races. As Moreno, a familiar face, we'll see a familiar place. Paul's setup shop victory lane in our first trip to Kentucky since 2021. And Moreno adds himself as the 3rd different winner here at Kentucky after we had that long tenure between Gen 6 and Next Gen, a car that really has favored this 92 machine and Moreno's driving style as he run the Polish victory lap here in Sparta after an unbelievable victory. And will tie Colin Forrester for 3rd all-time with double-digit victories at 10.
And becomes the 4th driver to get to that magic number 10. You think about the names that have done that: Lawson Peel, Colin Forrester, and Brandon Hawk, and 3 of those 4 rather, champions of the series, all of which have been capable of winning multiple championships. What a list to be a part of, Ethan Fonseca Moreno.
It's rarefied air for Moreno, who continues his celebrations. His 3rd victory of Season 8 comes here in the green car with the green walls surrounding it. Kentucky goes to Ethan Fonseca Moreno, and that brings us the end of our 134-lap, 201-mile feature here from Sparta in the Bluegrass State. Moreno takes the victory under dominating circumstances. Lawson Peel gets his best finish of Season 8. That's sort of hard to say over the first 7 races with how dominant he's been in his 4-wide career, but it is a breakthrough nonetheless. Justin Rott gets his best finish of the season as well for 3rd place. And Alexander Schumacher, the big what if, had he taken 2 instead of 4, how differently would this race have played out? But nonetheless, the top 10 run continues, and the Shoe Saturday run continues as well. Jaden Porter in his hometown affair ends up with a top 5 effort in his green Chevrolet, with Brandon Banks solid and quiet night for the Myrtle Beach, South Carolinian, ends up in P6 with Juan Escamilla in 7th. Nicholas Baumann gets his 3rd straight top 10 effort. Dark Horse Motorsports seems to be finding their groove early in the season. AJ Green with a top 10 in 9th, and Eric Schaefer rounds out tonight's top 10.
11th will go to Kyle Benson, who put up a decent recovery effort after having to serve the drive-through on the initial start of the race. Michael Walls ends up recovering up to 12th after being caught out by that caution in the middle of green flag pit stops. Craig Lautenslager finishes in 13th. Michael Newbrough with a solid top 15 effort. Dusty Applin will finish 15th with Trevor Haley in the 16th spot. Austin Reed will finish 17th with teammate Tyler Murray back in 18th. Scott Haley will finish in the 19th spot. And Craig Parks rounds out your top 20.
Back in 21st, it was Daniel Moore in a 77 on the lead lap. He's been putting together some good runs for himself this year. Timothy Cook finishes in the 22nd position. Randy Showers in the 22 had good speed early, finishes in 23rd. Chris Fowler tried that long game strategy, ends up getting 24th out of it. Curtis Kelly in the 71 finishes in 25th. Mikey Neal, 26th, last of the drivers, one lap down. Christopher Bishop in the 42 had that late pit road speeding penalty. He finishes in 27th. Brian Dixon in the 03 finishes in 28th. Kip Easley involved in one of those yellows with Randall Payne. They finished 29th and 30th.
And then the final few cars, Amir Bascom 31st after rolling off well in this field tonight. Brandon Gillis 32nd. Blaine Snyder and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer got a feel for the way those two races started. Snyder in the outside of the front row to begin that race ended up in a crash twice, and then the one that ended Jonathan Jurgensmeyer's night was a hardware issue. Brings the 2 machine as the final driver of our 34 tonight from Kentucky. Let's head to Paul's Setup Shop Victory Lane, joined now by the 3-time race winner this season of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Ethan, this has to feel good, right in your groove when it matters. 6th consecutive win for BBR, 2nd victory in the last 3 races. Can anyone stop you right now?
I'm not gonna say that I'm unbeatable, but just got a lot of good luck going my way so far, and I'm glad to carry that through tonight and get it done. So hopefully it's gonna add up in the total towards the playoffs and all that. So it's just good momentum, good points for the playoffs and all that, and just looking forward to keeping this up.
Just looking at these last 3 races, including tonight, it was a domination from the pole this evening. It was domination at Montreal alongside Francisco. And at Auto Club, you led a couple of laps. You ran up front, could have been in contention for the win. Some crashes took you out of that potential chance of the dub there. What has been working for you in this particular tenure and stretch over the last few weeks? Because it feels like it is serving you very well, and you've got this car locked in.
I think just qualifying up front and trying to keep myself up there and, keep myself out of trouble or whatnot. That's what got me into that whole incident thing in Auto Club. It just kind of had crash happen and, took myself out of it. But yeah, it's really all about staying up front, looking for that clean air, and especially tonight. Tonight was just whoever was up front, you had an advantage, and it didn't matter how good the person behind you was, you had an advantage no matter what. So, it's just all about keeping that track position and, keeping it clean out there and hopefully coming away with it at the end.
Back in Season 6, by the 8th race, you had won a pair of races. It's the first 7 this season. You've won 3. Talk to us about the evolution that you faced in your 4-wide career from Season 6, that championship running effort, to Season 7, where, it kind of cut short on the championship defense, but you found your way back with a vision and a lot of hunger this season in full form. What has that been like to develop your skill in 4-wide over the last few years, and how it's coming to a peak right now in 2025?
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, if I'm being honest, I feel like I'm kind of like past my peak and whatnot, but I don't know. I feel like it's more been having good luck so far this season, and getting lucky and coming away with it at the end. And I mean, for other leagues, it's been kind of a downhill thing going on, but for here, it's just everything's just been kind of going my way. So, very fortunate of that. And what's it called? Last season, if I'm being honest, though, I think last season I spent a lot of time away from the sim, so when I decided to come back, I tried to relearn everything again, and it was kind of a process. It took kind of a while, but now I feel like I'm at a decent spot. But of course, with the way this car is, it's like track position matters so much. So you just kind of have to be lucky with it and hope everything goes your way. And was it fortunate enough to have that tonight.
10th career 4-wide victory comes tonight from Kentucky Speedway. You put yourself 3rd on the all-time wins list, tied with Colin Forrester, and it's a huge moment as you in the field takes on the next race of the season at Bristol just before Halloween weekend. Before we let you go, Ethan, on this victory from Sparta, anybody that you want to shout out or thank for tonight's win?
Shout out to really all the competitors. We put a heck of a race on and kept it clean for the most part. At least from the second half of the actually, you know what, honestly, most of it was pretty clean. We had some runs going, so shout out to everybody. Um, that's my teammates and um, Jaden went in the call tonight, but shout out to him because I'm just extending that gap on wins to him. So yes. Shout out to team owners. You guys put on a good broadcast, and Quaker State being on the card tonight.
Well, Ethan, we really appreciate the time. Congratulations on the victory here from Kentucky. We'll see you in the field at Bristol Motor Speedway next week. Congratulations again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ethan Fonseca Moreno with his 10th career four-ride victory, first at this mile-and-a-half track in Kentucky. We turn back to the second-place finisher tonight. It is a good finish for Lawson Peel after what's been a tough season to begin. Francisco Lawson surely feeling good about this one.
Well, Lawson, I'm sure this is a welcome finish for you tonight to capture a top 2 finish from the Kentucky Speedway, your best finish of the season so far. Talk us through what it was like from your perspective going through that race and capturing your season best result.
Yeah, certainly needed it. Just been a struggle lately, and yeah, just kept saying I just needed to finish the race, and yeah, so happy about that. I think I finished higher than I should have there. I think I was probably like a 5th or 6th place car. Just never really got comfortable. I just never really. I felt slow, but I mean, I know you stack me up against the competition. I was pretty good. I just didn't feel like I was going anywhere. But I think throughout the natural progression of the race, I got in front of some people, just through the course of pit stops or restarts or whatever, and made a 2-tire call there on the last green flag stop. I think that was the right call. It was pushing pretty hard just to stay close to Ethan. I never really felt like I had a chance to go up there and pass him. I mean, I know you saw how hard it was to pass all night. Just really, really, really tough. So, yeah, just definitely get that, sensation of being stuck where you're at and just struggling. So, but it's just been, I just feel like generally it's been a struggle for me post update. It's just really sucked. I really hate it. So, not a fan. But got to start turning the ship around at some point. So hopefully this is, the start of that, and we can keep it going. Sorry to Amir Bascom for that incident we had on the front stretch there earlier in the race. I kind of hated that happened. So, but other than that, it was a good, clean kind of night like I needed to have.
And that kind of actually segues into my follow-up question here, Lawson. You said that you're not a big fan of the update. What do you see from an observation from your skill set? What do you think is probably what makes this update difficult for you to grasp, at least right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they've changed the draft package. I mean, the draft and the side draft is different. So I just feel like one of my strengths is the air and using the air in the draft to my advantage, and then just using that to manipulate what's going on around me. And I think they've just, it's kind of taken away some of my ability to do that, for one thing, and just certain things you can do, like driving up behind somebody to get them tight or something. They've changed all that, and it's it's just different. I mean, everybody's kind of talked about the dirty air. I mean, that's certainly a thing. I mean, dirty air's been there. It's dirty air. It's certainly worse, but I mean, I know how to manage dirty air. It's not, I don't think that's it. It's just, the feel of the car is just more unstable, more twitchy, and I just, for whatever reason, have not been as comfortable. So hopefully, I really hope they just, I'm just hoping, I'm just counting down the days till the next update. Hopefully they just go back on it some, but I know I'm not going to be that lucky.
Well, we do know that eventually at some point this season, we could see possibly the update featuring the 750 horsepower, and that might come sometime around the playoffs. So I'm sure that'll be one to watch when we get down to that part of the season, Lawson. But before we let you go, anybody want to give a shout out to the Hell Six that's happened for you and your 12 team?
Yeah, shout out to you guys. Hadn't talked to y'all in a while, so shout out to you guys. Good to be back for an interview, because it's not been going well. So Yeah, thanks to Tyler Murray, Benson, Reedy, Greg, Glottenschlager, Bishop, everybody that helps them on the admin team. Thanks to TJ's team for sponsoring the league. Really appreciate that. And all my DBR teammates.
Appreciate the time you take with us, Lawson. Congratulations on your season best result here tonight. We hope to see you out there at the Bristol Motor Speedway next week.
Yeah, see you guys later.
A solid finish for Drinkin' Bros Racing and the best finish of Season 8 for the 12 machine and the Season 4 champion of Lawson Peel. Third place finish, another driver with his best 4-wide finish. It's Justin Ron in the 07, and I'm sure Charlie would be very happy about this. Justin, the Charlie Byer photography car ends up on the podium. Justin, a very solid race overall here from Kentucky. Top 10 car throughout the entire night. What felt right about this Toyota Camry, especially through those long green flag runs?
I'll be completely honest, not a lot felt right. I mean, I really struggled with passing on those short runs. I took 2 to get up there because I qualified really bad, and then took 2 to get up there and kind of just held position bottom half of the top 10 for that whole time. And a couple cars stayed out, and then they had to pit under green, so I got a little lucky there. But yeah, I didn't feel great. I definitely didn't feel fast, and even by the end of the race, I never really figured it out. And the couple laps that I thought I put perfect laps together, they still kind of ran me down until Shuey got in the dirty air, and I was just losing a ton of time to Lawson and Ethan in front. So, but yeah, just a good strategy call, taking 2 and trying to pit early because I knew it's a lot easier to hold somebody up than to pass someone. So, that's why I wanted to pit early, get my 2 tires out of the way, and hope I could undercut a couple people, and I think I got a couple, so kind of just ended up third out of that. I wasn't too sure how, but definitely never quite figured it out. But, happy to get a good finish out of it regardless.
So this is your second 4-wide start of Season 8. We saw you run at Daytona where you ended up in a top 10 finish. Chance to win on the white flag lap there as it was chaos to the start-finish line. A top 10 finish here, top 3 from Kentucky Speedway. What should we expect to see from the rest of your schedule? Are you going to run more consistently? Have you been able to run more consistently, at least in terms of the next several races? What's the schedule looking like to see you more on the racetrack this year?
I'm thinking next week. I believe next week I'll be out. But I think after that we should be good to go for at least the majority of the season. Things pop up here and there, but again, definitely not, missed a lot of races, so not really looking for too big of a playoff push or racing 2 for points. But no races in particular, but I should be out there a lot more than I have been this season.
Well, Justin, that's good to hear. Hopefully you'll be back for Bristol, which should be a very fun race. I know you said Ethan and Jaden probably have the most aura in this series, but I think you've gained some aura points here yourself. Third place finish tonight from Kentucky. Before we let you go, anybody that you want to shout out or thank for tonight's third place run?
Yeah, shout out everyone in the call. Ethan, great win for him. Shuey, he was ridiculously fast, so he figured something out that everyone else didn't. So good run for him. Jaden, all the BBR guys, all the Godink guys, everyone up here in the booth, and especially you, Charlie. I'm gonna beat you one more time in 8-ball next year.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
All right, Justin. Well, on behalf of all of us here at the KBueno Racing Network, thank you so much for the time. Congrats on the third place finish, and we'll see you in the field at Bristol next Wednesday night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Justin Rotten is number 07, Go Incorporated Toyota Camry, ends up with the third place finish. And look at that on the back bumper. Perfect timing. Back-to-back-to-back 8-ball champion. That's the perfect reference to Charlie. And the Charlie Byer photography car ends up with its first podium, I believe, this season. So good news all across the board. Justin ends up with the finish. Let's talk to our final driver who ends up in 4th tonight. And you have to give a shout out and an applause to Alex Schumacher. The whale of a run you've had tonight, Alex. I mean, this car was on rails midway. You were running the right lines. Car was running well. You had the race lead. Walk us through that final half of the race, that decision for 4 tires on pit road, and the overall emotions after a 4th place finish.
Well, it was the best car I've had all year. That's for sure. On pace, tire wear, everything clicked this race. Just momentum was carrying, tire wear was great. I was making all the lanes work. Yeah, with that final stop, just made the wrong call at the end. Just looked in the mirror at the wrong time and just thought maybe it was time to cover him off because we had the similar lap times. But he took 2, I took 4. Think he probably got through lap traffic better. Probably got in and out better. Just there's 4 seconds. So just I'm not sure how many tracks. Ethan told me he thought I had him beat tonight. He said he had nothing for me, and that means a lot coming from a guy like him. But given how many wins he's had this year and how incredibly fast he's been, I don't know how many other tracks I'm better than him at. So it sucks to kind of what seems like right now might be my best track against him, kind of throwing away that result potentially. I mean, it's 4th place is still an incredible result. It's just what could have been had we made the right call at the right time. Just a huge bummer, come that close. Kind of feels good to run out front. We learned a lot. We definitely backed off our pace, saved our tires. We were matching Ethan. We were doing everything we needed to do, and so that gives me confidence. But he's a hell of a driver, incredible talent. Just not sure how many more opportunities I'm going to get at beating him 1v1, and tonight may have been my best shot. We'll see as the season goes, but he's an incredible driver. He's really good at everything he does, every track he shows up to. So just incredibly gutted, kind of just thinking about if I take 2 there, am I running behind him, if I'm running close to him. So just more things to think about later this week when I'm at the gym, just running or whatnot, just thinking what could I have done better, where could I have improved, or just more stuff to think about. So it's definitely a character building race, that's for sure. You're going to get punched a lot, but it's always about how you respond and get back up. So we're going to give them hell next week with the same speed, same car. Boys at the shop made an incredible car. Even with the track conditions during practice, we knew the race was going to be very cool. So we prepared our car to be for the later in the race, at least when the lights came on. Really happy that happened. So shout out to the boys at the shop for preparing yet another incredible car this many weeks in a row. It's just amazing that we're able to have this much speed and consistency and in such a competitive series. So just we're going to swallow our pride, just kind of write down what we learned and save it for later.
But on the other side of it, lots of positive storylines to come away from this night. Francisco had mentioned earlier on this race, you said hours before the race that you were excited for this event. You finished well in the Slide Job Racing League event here at Kentucky. So you had the high hopes for sure, and the car really transferred well. Your skill transferred well here, and you ran fast as you did for a top 5. And I'm pleased to say the Shoe Sanity run continues. You haven't run a race outside of the top 10 this year. So how special has that been to continue that run and have the pace that you've had over these few last months from the summer entering the fall?
Well, it's been unbelievable, Kenneth. Like I said, the guys back at the shop providing an incredible race car week in, week out. The fact that I'm doing this on one less race than everyone else, or at least a lot compared to the other guys. It means a lot to me to have this much consistency, speed, and momentum carrying every week, no matter where I show up. So it's making me a better driver every week. It's making me faster. It's carrying to other leagues as well. It means so much to carry a streak like this and kind of keep it rolling. It's something incredible. I don't think I've ever had, this much consistency in my iRacing career. So while tonight was a huge sting and a huge bummer, you're going to get your hard losses. Like I said, it's about how you respond and how you react. So we're going to give it our all next week. We're going to put more practice in, see what we can learn. Just incredibly satisfied with the way our car's been, the way everyone's been cooperating on track. My competition's been very nice, been very respectful when it comes to racing for track position, whether it's early in the race or late in the race. So I can't thank them for racing me respectfully and clean as well. Those guys race hard every week as well. So really appreciate them for understanding give and take. With the connection issues early in the race too, I've been having these really terrible Wi-Fi issues. I'm not sure what's really causing them. It's just these random spurts of screen freeze or I disappear from the track. So had a good race start at the beginning. Had a drop to the rear, but we made all those positions up, and that's where I think I got my confidence. Passing everyone, just taking the outside lane, it was killing my tires, but the clean air was there and nobody else was bothering. So I just figured it was the only shot I had to pass people. So really happy. Our car has been insane these last few months. It's insane to even say that we have had that much consistency. So look, let's just keep it up heading into next week. One race at a time, like always. Swallow all of our hard fought, the defeat and kind of the feelings and emotions you have with it, and focus on next week and the bigger picture at hand. Because if I'm chasing Ethan and he makes a mistake or something happens to him, it could be me or it could be somebody else. So I just got to put myself in the right place, right time, and take advantage of it. I've got the speed, got the long run speed. So just one of these times it'll happen. Just gonna keep putting in the effort, keep trying my best, and showing up with a going to work attitude as always.
Well, Alex, a great finish tonight. 4th place here at Sparta, Kentucky. Before we let you bounce, anybody that you want to thank or shout out for tonight's run?
Yeah, shout out to the BBR guys. As always, we're communication, working together as a team. Just it's really great to see the consistency of the speed come from all of us. We're all racing each other really competitively. Shout out to Ethan, of course. He's only making me faster and better as a driver. So really appreciate everything he's teaching me. Hopefully one of these days it'll pay off. But our 1v1s right now are really fun, and I'm enjoying every second of it. Love to welcome back my parents from Hawaii. I think they're probably, I don't know if they landed just recently but they're definitely back in the state right now, heading back home. So welcome my parents back from Hawaii. Shout out to my family as well. Everyone watching and supporting, thank you for tuning in and giving your time to watch, support the stream. Thank you guys for an incredible broadcast. KBueno broadcasts are step up. They're just amazing, top-notch quality. So it's the whole reason why I look forward to rewatching my races at work or later in the week, or even when I work out. You guys put on an amazing show, amazing quality. Can't thank you guys enough. Shout out Chewy Sportsbook on the car. Really, really excited to get that scheme a really good run recently. It's a beautiful car. Really happy to bring it to the track. Shout out Austin Duran for making such a beautiful paint scheme. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for everything you do. Thank you 4Wide for an amazing race again. I'm looking forward to next week. It'll be a really fun race.
We appreciate the kind words, Alex, and on behalf of all of us at the KBueno Racing Network, congratulations on the 4th place finish here from Kentucky. Should be fun to see you continue the Shoe Sanity run. Should it continue for the rest of the year? But until then, Alex, we'll see you in the field at Bristol next Wednesday.
Hey, take care. Thanks a lot, guys.
That's Alexander Schumacher. Race-winning pace, 21 laps led, ends up with a 4th place finish at the end of it all. But guys, you got to give credit to the race that he ended up running. Right on par with Ethan Fonseca Moreno. They could have been the 2 titans at the front, but it's a 2-tire versus 4-tire call that changes it all, creates the rift, and it's Ethan Fonseca Moreno with his 3rd victory of the 2025-26 4Wide season. So we progress forward after our first trip to a 1.5-mile track this season. We go to our 2nd short track affair of the campaign, from Richmond in race number 2 to Bristol Motor Speedway in the Last Great Coliseum in race 8, Francisco. That should be a showdown. We're still waiting for the 750 horsepower. Won't be updated by the time we go there next Wednesday, but should be a great duel nonetheless.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see when we show up to the Bristol Motor Speedway with these updates. You saw the SAC race there a couple of weeks ago, or I think it was like 2 weeks ago, really. You were on the call for that one. It was a fantastic showing. Amir Bascom was able to come away with the win there, so we'll see if he's able to have a comeback drive there when we show up to the short track in Tennessee next time out. Pocono's going to be coming up. That might be the next time I'm out there on the racetrack trying to salvage whatever was left of last season's event there. And then we end up going into this kind of, I will say, slow mid-season portion of the schedule. We got a couple of holidays coming up here in November and December, and it really strings out that schedule between November and January when we get back going come Texas Motor Speedway. Not that many events after that, but nonetheless, we do have to appreciate what we have here right now, and everybody's going to try to get into whatever point situation they can. That way, when we do get to Texas and we start running races more consistently in that run towards Daytona, it's less work you have to do.
And a lot of racetracks that will certainly challenge the drivers over the course of the year. Keelan, your final thoughts after this race from Kentucky and how chaotic this midseason break will be?
Yeah, just dominant by Ethan tonight. I mean, that's all you could ask for as a driver, to run a race that perfectly. And he is in a zone like we haven't seen from him since he was in that championship form. So he's going to be really tough to beat this year. I feel like he is going to rattle off several more victories before we even get to the playoffs. He just is in a zone right now. Like Francisco said a couple times, when he is locked in, he is the toughest driver on the sim to beat. So right now, as it stands, he is very tough to beat. I feel like this update has really played into his wheelhouse, and he's going to keep it going. As we start to go in this midseason stretch, we got all kinds of different tracks. They really did a good job curating the schedule where we don't have the same style back-to-back, really. Everything is different every week, and it lends itself to a lot more opportunities for a lot of different guys.
But a lot of races to go. We're not even halfway done with this 4-wide Season 8 regular season, and we continue with Bristol Motor Speedway next Wednesday night, October 29th. You'll find the Thousand Islands Correct pre-race show for you at 8:35 p.m. Eastern before we go green flag racing from the Last Great Coliseum at 9:10 p.m. Eastern. Be sure not to miss the championship finale for the SAC Cup Series. Season 4 comes to a close in Fontana, California, the site of one of our most recent 4-wide races not that long ago. And it will be a shining sun on one champion in that season between 6 drivers trying to vie for the title at the end of that race. So be sure not to miss that 8:35 p.m. Eastern start for that as well. Our pre-race show before we get the green flag from Fontana, California. So that'll do it on behalf of all of us at the KBueno Racing Network for this 7th race of the Season 8 4-wide racing TJ's Team Series from the virtual Kentucky Speedway. On behalf of Tyler Murray and the entire crew and admin team at the 4-wide Racing League, and on behalf of all of the wonderful people on the KBueno Racing Network, for Eli Comerford, Nate Polite, and for my crew on the broadcast tonight, for my colleagues Francisco Bacallao, Keelan Belsha, and Charlie Byer, I'm Kenneth Bueno waving so long from the Bluegrass State, and it's the green car in control. Ethan Fonseca Moreno gets his 3rd victory of Season 8 as the field moves on to Bristol Motor Speedway next Wednesday night.